Chapter 484. Yin-Yang Energy Swallow Dragon Roar Origin, Turmoil in Immortal City. He knew that under the relentless assault of the replenished origin energy and the dragon roar of yang energy, the opponent's heart meridians had been damaged, showing slight ruptures. At this rate, not just the heart meridians but all the energy channels throughout the body and the dantian would be compromised. At this very moment he could no longer afford to be cautious. He directly used several elixir medicines and spirit talismans on Xianxia. In times of critical illness, one must resort to drastic measures. With the power of the elixir medicines and talismans, he enabled Xianxia to cling onto a thread of vitality. So long as there was a thread of vitality, he could use the yin-yang nirvana art and the life transference technique to bring the patient back from the brink and slowly recover. Time was of the essence in this moment. The elixir medicines and talismans made the unconscious Xianxia moan softly, like a pool of soft water. Roar! At this time, the flood dragon returned with a strand of origin energy seized from the dragon ball. Upon entering Lu Changsheng's body, this strand of dragon roar origin immediately turned into a surge of force, scouring every inch of his flesh and skin. 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art. Feeling the dragon roar origin rampaging in his body, Lu Changsheng immediately activated the 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art. Boom boom boom, the sound of raging river-like blood surged within Lu Changsheng's body. As a foundation establishment cultivator, and having cultivated the 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art to the 4th level, merely a strand of dragon roar origin was not enough to impact him greatly. However, as this strand of dragon roar origin reached the Qi Ocean core, buzz, the yin-yang energies orbiting around the yin-yang 5 elements foundation base within Lu Changsheng's Qi Ocean core seemed to resonate. They immediately transformed into a tiny yin-yang fish, swimming towards the dragon roar origin. What's going on here? Lu Changsheng looked baffled. He did not understand what was happening with the yin-yang energies of his foundation base. After all, he had never encountered such a situation before. But then, the yin-yang fish formed by the yin-yang energies swallowed the strand of dragon roar origin in one gulp. Boom boom boom. In an instant, Lu Changsheng felt the dragon roar origin being refined by the yin-yang energies, which slowly increased the yang energy within his yin-yang energies. So that's how it is. Lu Changsheng realized what was happening in his heart. His yin-yang energies could be enhanced through rare yin-yang origin sources. Furthermore, his own yin-yang energies were not perfectly balanced at the moment, with the yang energy being weaker than the yin energy. It was not for any other reason, but simply because the great sun essence of the golden crow elixir he initially consumed was far less profound than Xiaoxia's supreme yin moonlight. The reason he was able to maintain balance was entirely due to the spirit-nurturing energy he had obtained from the Golden Core Lady. Now, the strand of Dragon Roar origin was more compatible with the Supreme Yin Moonlight than the Great Sun Essence. Thus, his yin-yang energies instinctively yearned to consume this strand of Dragon Roar origin. Meanwhile, as the yin-yang energies digested the Dragon Roar origin, Lu Changsheng's 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art, at the peak of the 4th level, vibrated intensely and broke through to the 5th level. Boom boom boom. In an instant, Lu Changsheng's blood and qi raged like overflowing rivers and erupting volcanoes, forming a dazzling pillar of rainbow light that soared into the sky and filled the entire cave. His whole body shone brilliantly, illuminated and flashing, with vigorous blood qi and revolving treasure light. It seems that the Dragon Roar origin is even more beneficial to the male physique. Lu Changsheng felt elated in his heart. He hadn't anticipated that the stimulation from the Dragon Roar origin would allow his 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art to break through directly. According to his estimates, even with the assistance of the 9 Treasure Jade Rui, a heavenly spiritual treasure for cultivation, it would still have taken him 3 to 4 months to achieve a breakthrough. Now that the 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art has broken through to the 5th level, I can also begin melting the 9 Treasure Jade Rui within my breastbone to forge it into my life-bound treasured bone. Lu Changsheng was thrilled. He had long anticipated this day, but he did not dwell on it. He immediately turned his attention to the currently endangered Xianxia. As he drew essence from the Dragon Roar physique, causing it to erupt, Xianxia was now on the verge of death, hanging on solely due to the elixir medicines and talismans he had just used to barely maintain her life force. Yin-Yang Nirvana Art. Lu Changsheng did not hesitate, taking a healing elixir for himself. He grasped the woman's plump waist and executed the Yin-Yang Nirvana Art, transferring vital essence into Xianxia's body. At the same time he activated the life transference technique. The patient's condition was extremely dire. Ravaged by the impact of the Dragon Roar physique, Her body was a mess of chaos and fractures, and her energy channels were all moderately damaged. Simply relying on the yin-yang nirvana art was not enough to stabilize the life force and repair the injuries. If such a price is to be paid for seizing a strand of origin energy, I fear it's going to cost me a significant portion of my lifespan. Lu Changxing held the delicate and sweaty waist, murmuring to himself. He had thought Ling Zixio's situation would not be too troublesome. Even though he had to stabilize Ling Zixio's life force using the yin-yang nirvana art and the life transference technique, he assumed it would only take 2 or 3 times at most. But from the current situation it wasn't nearly that simple. Because every act of seizing Dragon Roar origin presented Ling Zixio with a life-threatening condition. If I were to refine the 9 treasured jade rui into my life-bound treasured bone and obtain the 9 innate divine abilities, I wonder how effective the healing divine light is. Lu Changxing pondered silently, thinking of the 9 treasured jade rui embedded in his breastbone. This rui contained 9 treasures, each with its own divine ability. The 5th treasure was the healing divine light, which could heal someone's physical body and even their primordial spirit injuries. It might have therapeutic effects on Ling Zixio's energy channels and Dantian as well. If he could restore a fraction of her energy channels and Dantian, subsequent treatments would become much easier. As Lu Changxing's transferred essence entered her body, Ling Zixio, currently unconscious and trapped in a dark abyss enduring endless torture, felt as if refreshing springs were flowing into her. It brought a strange sweetness to her enveloping darkness and her nearly broken spirit and body. Chapter 485. Yin-Yang Energy Swallow Dragon Roar Origin, Turmoil in Immortal City. _4 Following that, a wisp of warmth emerged, pulling her out of the dark abyss. Through such prolonged companionship and dual cultivation day and night, she knew exactly where this wisp of warmth originated. A feeling of indescribable peace and safety instantly filled her heart. Zixio, hold on. Lu Changxing noticed that Ling Zixio had regained some consciousness and spoke in a deep voice. As he finished speaking, his hands then grasped the supple and slick thighs of the beauty, and her jade feet wrapped in snowy white stockings. He poured life into her forcefully and steadily, stabilizing the situation within her body. Ling Zixio tried to speak. But her consciousness was blurred, and her body felt numb and powerless, leaving her unable to open her mouth. She could only let out a gentle nasal hum, soft and coquettish. Just as Lu Changxing was healing Ling Zixio with the techniques of yin-yang nirvana and life transference technique. Buzz. But suddenly, above Jianghu Immortal City, the 5-colored aurora that enveloped the city was intensifying rapidly. Colorful runes like fish were spreading throughout the aurora, emitting strong mana fluctuations. What's happening? This is the 5 extreme celestial formation of the celestial city. Why would the formation suddenly become fully operational? Inside the city, many cultivators who witnessed this scene immediately cried out in alarm. Whether it was the marketplace or the celestial city, the formations are normally operated at the lowest possible consumption level. They were only fully activated in the face of significant events. Otherwise, even a 3rd-rank spirit vein would struggle to sustain the operation of a 3rd-rank great formation indefinitely. After all, the amount of spiritual energy consumed by the cultivators in the city each day is no small figure. The sudden full-scale operation of the formation, closing off the celestial city, looks problematic no matter how one sees it. Especially for those robber cultivators, heretic cultivators, and demon cultivators who were hiding their identities in the city at this moment, they were somewhat panicked. Everyone, do not be afraid. Today the celestial city has activated the formation solely to suppress the demon cultivators. Do not wander around or move about recklessly. An icy, domineering, and majestic voice rose, spreading throughout the entire Jianghu Immortal City. As soon as the words fell, many heavenly sword sect cultivators suddenly appeared, surrounding courtyards, cavern dwellings, and buildings. Boom, boom, boom. In a short while, explosions from spells and collisions of magic artifacts were heard within a building. Some courtyards and buildings, amidst the fighting, collapsed directly into ruins. Whoosh! A streak of rainbow light flew out. Although Jianghu Immortal City had a ban on flying, this restriction was not strong enough to prevent nascent soul immortals from flying. It only made flight more difficult and more exhausting. However, at that very instant, a sword light with a sharp edge slashed out. This sword seemed as if it came from beyond the 9th heaven, almost instantly emerging like a skyward explosion. It forced the nascent soul immortal to hastily operate his magical treasure. Due to the hurried response, he spat out blood under the sword light. Boom boom boom, various sounds started echoing within the celestial city. 7 or 8 streaks of rainbow light appeared. These were either false core immortals or nascent soul immortals. Not good. The Heavenly Sword sect has discovered us. When did this happen? These streaks of light were all nascent soul immortals. Facing such a fierce onslaught, their complexions were incredibly grim at this moment. They had not expected that their prolonged concealment within Jianghu Immortal City would be detected by the Heavenly Sword sect. You demonic brats, did you really think that we at the Heavenly Sword sect were oblivious to your actions all this time? A cold and domineering voice rang out. There appeared a middle-aged man dressed in a black magical robe. He stood tall and straight, the whole of him like a divine sword with its edge fully revealed, giving off a bone-chilling sharpness upon sight. Heavenly Exterminating Sword Yun Jianfeng. Now, as Xianxia True Monarch is locked in battle with the 2 great true monarchs of Jin Kingdom, how could you be here? Someone recognizing the middle-aged man felt a chill in their heart and spoke in a deep voice. Heavenly Exterminating Sword Yun Jianfeng. Core formation late stage. Moreover, he had congealed a superior gold core, ranked as the foremost among Heavenly Sword sect members under the nascent soul True Lord Li Duanshuan, his strength immensely astonishing. Since our sect's supreme elder dares to accept the challenge, naturally there's no fear, and there's no need for my presence. It's better here to cut down all you jumping clowns and teach the forces behind you a lesson. Yun Jianfeng's voice was as cold and domineering as the tip of a sword, piercing into the hearts of others. As the voice died away. Buzz. Above the Immortal City, the 5 extreme celestial formations circulated with 5-colored radiance, a vast, ocean-like mana surged. Immediately afterward, an enormous tide of sword light appeared, like the Milky Way pouring down from the 9 heavens, killing its way towards those nascent soul immortals. Run. Hurry and run. Everyone join forces to break the formation. Seeing this spectacle, all the nascent soul immortals turned pale, shouting out, wanting to flee the Jianghu Immortal City. Within the city, not only was there the bane that was Yun Jianfeng, but also nascent soul immortals overseeing the celestial city formation, along with other false core immortals. In such a predicament, should they continue fighting, defeat was certain. Besides, these people were not united in purpose, each harboring their own agendas. Xiaochan go. In the crowd, Nangong Meili saw this scene and didn't dare to hesitate, forming hand seals, and a purple jade spider with numerous pairs of eyes appeared. Her enchanting figure landed on the purple jade spider's back, and with a grab toward Meng Xiaochan, she flew towards the gate of the Immortal City. Thinking of leaving? The man in the black robe, Yun Jianfeng, looked at the nascent soul immortals before him, his expression cold and domineering. A black magical sword appeared in his hands, slashing fiercely forward. In an instant, a tyrannical sword light cleaved out, tearing open the void, forcing a nascent soul immortal to parry defensively. And in that instant, boom! The great formation above the Immortal City surged with another vicious tide of sword light, weaving into a sword chi net, gathering layer by layer, attempting to suppress the nascent soul immortal. Swoosh swoosh swoosh, several Heavenly Sword sect false core immortals and Foundation establishment cultivators arrived, aiming to capture the nascent soul immortal locked within the sword net. Boom! Yun Jianfeng stood tall and straight, his figure upright like a sword, standing firm in the void, his gaze electric. Seeing Nangong Meili standing on the purple jade spider ahead, he fiercely slashed with the sword in his hand. Immediately, a black sword chi dazzled forth, filled with an annihilating aura, as if cleaving through the dawn of creation. Hiss hiss hiss. On seeing this, Nangong Meili produced a purple flute, and endless purple streams surged, seeking to block this annihilating sword chi. And the purple jade spider spat out strands of purple crystal clear silk, weaving into a large net. But the next moment, boom! The great formation above the Immortal City circulated with 5-colored aura, its might surging, a dense mass of sword light turned into a net of sword chi, killing its way toward Nangong Meili. It was clear that the array master upholding the Immortal City formation was coordinating with Yun Jianfeng. Whoever Yun Jianfeng sought to kill, he would swiftly act to suppress, an offensive so overwhelming it left one virtually unable to defend. Meili. At this time, not far off, a tall, majestic-looking middle-aged man exuding an aura of menace saw the scene and immediately showed worry, shouting loudly. He immediately gave up fleeing. With a dark red greatsword magic artifact appearing in his hands, he actively slashed toward the sword chi net in the sky to break it open for Nangong Meili. Chapter 486. Cackling Rampage Self-Detonation of the True Elixir. _1 Xianxia's face was ferocious, with black hair wildly flying above his head. In his hand, a blood-red greatsword swung, and a sea of blood emerged. The boundless sea of blood surged with a terrifying might, attacking the net of sword chi in the sky that shimmered with five-colored radiance. Boom! The collision between the sea of blood and the sword net instantly caused a loud explosion and dreadful waves of mana. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh! The waves of this impact swept in all directions, nearly shattering the house buildings and white jade stone slabs surrounding the Immortal City. Even in the Immortal City, where buildings and floors were made from special materials, they couldn't possibly withstand the aftermath of a battle between nascent soul immortals. Suppress. In just an instant, a majestic and profound voice rose. Winds whipped up from all directions, and an invisible barrier formed, suppressing and calming the terrible afterwaves. Heavenly Sword Sect dared to make a move within Jianghu Immortal City, naturally considering various aspects and not allowing the battle aftermath to spread wantonly. Otherwise, such a battle at the nascent soul level would reduce even the Immortal City to ruins. Moreover, there were countless cultivators inside the Immortal City. If they allowed nascent soul immortals to fight unrestrained, just the aftershocks alone could kill who knows how many energy-refining cultivators. Let's go. Nangong Meili, upon seeing this scene, didn't hesitate in the slightest. Taking Meng Xiaochan with her, she commanded the purple jade spider underneath to continue their assault toward the Immortal City's main gate. Ha! Yun Jianfeng witnessed the scene and let out a sneer. He didn't care about the fleeing Nangong Meili. His magical sword in hand, he slashed forward, emitting a black sword chi. An endless aura of eradication surged forth, aiming to kill the still struggling Xianxia against the great net of sword chi. If the opponent was seeking death on their own, he had no qualms about obliging them. As for Nangong Meili and the others with the Celestial City formation activated and fully sealed, these people were like turtles in a jar. He merely needed to defeat them one by one. Should he demonstrate excessive power, causing these people to fall into despair, they might band together or even wreak havoc in the Immortal City. This was something he did not wish to see. Ha! Xianxia, seeing the annihilating sword chi coming at him, his face darkened. True elixir mana surged through his body, and a fearsome and powerful black armor materialized around him, his body emanating waves of ominous energy. He took a deep breath, drawing in the air and spiritual energy from all around into his abdomen. With a rumbling sound, his abdomen pulsed, and out of his nostrils spread two dragon-like breaths. Roar! Immediately afterward, rapid, violent, domineering, surging, and sharp breaths burst forth from his body. This noise resembled the thunderous sound of thousands of troops in battle and countless fierce birds and beasts howling, an eruption like that of a volcano exploding, sweeping in all directions. Boom, boom, boom! The hurricane rose abruptly, and the visible sound waves surged out from Xianxia as the epicenter, laying waste in every direction. Pavilions, terraces, shops, and storefronts collapsed under this impact. And on the streets, many people within these shops turned pale with pain, some spewing fresh blood and bursting apart. Xianxia had become a nascent soul immortal for a reason. He was certainly not foolish. Knowing the situation was dire, he realized he had no chance against Yun Jianfeng and the Celestial City formation. Rather than wait for execution, he might as well act in this manner, preventing them from using their full strength against him, and by Nangong Meili some time. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh! The might of the Celestial City formation surged, and the cultivators from the Heavenly Sword Sect also formed their arrays, taking positions around, quelling this wave of sound and mana. Demon Head, you're courting death. Yun Jianfeng, seeing this scene, glared fiercely, his expression turned grave. In the void, instantly appeared numerous black sword chi with a chilling killing intent and an aura of eradication. The sword chi was dense and overwhelming, like a boundless ocean, racing towards Xianxia. Before this, he hadn't used his full force against these people, thinking of it like a cat playing with a mouse. He wanted them to see hope, to scatter like sand, each fleeing for their lives. But now, Xianxia's actions had ignited a wave of anger in him. Humming, Xianxia, seeing the unstoppable tide of sword chi breaking through the air and knowing he couldn't avoid it, rapidly formed seals with his hands. His insides rumbled loudly as though a fierce beast was awakening. The black armor on his body showed the phantom of a black jiao snake, fierce and dreadful, coiling around him. Clang, clang, clang! The black sword chi arrived, striking the phantom black jiao snake surrounding his body, causing sparks to fly and creating a symphony of clashing metals. In the process, the solid Jiao snake phantom visibly weakened and dimmed. The killing intent was like the wind, the sword chi like the tide, continuously relentless, pulsing back and forth. Myriad manifestations. Xianxia, enduring the endless sword chi, had a ferocious look, eyes spewing out black flames resembling glazing, and he roared loudly. With the blood-red greatsword, he broke through the net of sword chi and slashed forward fiercely. His slash carried a domineering might, sweeping across heaven and earth with a boundless sea of blood, accompanied by ghostly wails and wolf howls. Boom, 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 the boundless sea of blood sought to tear through the tide of black sword chi. But the black sword chi was inexhaustible and visible to the naked eye. It tore through the sea of blood. Suppress. At the same time, a tremendous voice resounded between heaven and earth. Above the immortal city, with the great formation's five-colored radiance diffusing, a five-colored rainbow, akin to a celestial pillar, shot down at Xianxia, its might astonishing. Facing Yun Jianfeng's offensive and already near his limit, Xianxia's expression instantly turned extremely grim. With a fierce look, the mana surged within his body, and the phantom of the Jiao snake on his black armor raised its head to howl, rocketing towards the sky to charge at the pillar of light. But the Jiao snake, already greatly weakened by the black sword chi attack, had its power damaged. Confronted with the five-colored celestial pillar, it let out a mournful cry and disintegrated into ashes, shattering in the void. Chapter 487. Cackling Rampage, Self-Detonation of the True Elixir. Pooh. The illusion of the flood dragon shattered, immediately whitening Xianxia's face as he spat out fresh blood. At the same time, the boundless sea of blood he had unleashed was annihilated by the black sword chi in that instant. The endless black sword chi instantly engulfed Xianxia, causing his protective magical treasures to crack and his armor to splinter, with sparks flying off. Immediately after, his body boom flew backward, smashing into the ground and creating a deep crater. Blood spurted from his eyes, ears, nose and mouth, a truly pitiful sight. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Seeing this, the Heavenly Sword Sect disciples who were skirmishing nearby immediately took action, forming an array to suppress and capture Xianxia. "Mealy, this is all I can do for you," Xianxia said under the pressure of the force, with his muscles crackling and limbs unable to bear the strength, motionless and showing an expression of agony. He lifted his head slightly, gazing into the distance. Looking at Nangong Mealy, who had already escaped on a purple jade spider, his eyes shone with a fascinated and satisfied light. He felt that being able to buy so much time for Nangong Mealy was worth it. At this very moment, Nangong Mealy and the others had already reached the gates of Immortal City, hitting the great formation in front of them together, trying to break through the prohibitions and escape. But with the third-rank great formation fully activated, sealing off the entire Immortal City, even with several nascent soul immortals attacking together, it was impossible to break through the formation instantly. Fellow cultivators, stop holding back. Right now, we can only break through if we combine our efforts. Otherwise, if we keep this up, we'll all be finished here, one of them said. I possess a magical treasure named the Ban-Breaking All, which can break prohibitions and formation. It has a certain effect on breaking through the great formation, said a cultivator wearing a gray robe with gray hair and a gloomy face. He quickly produced a purple gold awl. Indeed, no matter what happened before, now we must find a way to break through the great formation. I have a third-order ban-breaking talisman that can be used to break the prohibitions of a great formation. I possess a divine skill called the Great Inversion Divine Power, which can overturn mountains and rivers, affect the ley lines, and is useful for breaking formations. Once this power succeeds, it can disrupt the operation of this local heaven and earth, making the formation weak, another person declared. Seeing how quickly two nascent soul immortals were suppressed and captured, the others spoke up one after another. They knew they were trapped like turtles in a jar. Only by working together to find a way to break the formation was there a sliver of hope for escape. Otherwise, the outcome awaiting them was nothing but capture and suppression. Take action. Deciding quickly, the cultivators began to operate. A nascent soul immortal and a false core immortal flew up into the sky, acting separately, unleashing their divine skills and magical treasures at the buildings and cultivators of Immortal City. By doing this, they forced the Heavenly Sword Sect to use the power of the Great Formation to protect these buildings and cultivators. The others used their divine skills to hinder the Heavenly Sword Sect cultivators and to attack the formation, looking to blast open a tiny thread of life. Boom, boom, boom. Under the assault of the divine skills and magical treasures, countless pavilions, terraces, and grand buildings collapsed and exploded, turning into ruins. Many energy-refining cultivators and even some Foundation establishment cultivators were obliterated under the devastating onslaught, their flesh and bones turning to mush. When immortals fight, mortals suffer. In front of nascent soul immortals, let alone energy-refining cultivators, even those at the Foundation establishment stage could hardly resist. And at this moment, this nascent soul immortal was destroying unrestrainedly. Looking for death. Yun Jianfeng's face turned icy with murderous intent upon witnessing this. What he was seeing was the last thing he wanted to observe. He transmitted his divine sense, instructing the true person managing the formation to isolate heaven and earth with the formation, suppress all sides, and for the Heavenly Sword sect disciples to evacuate the populace and to seal off the surroundings. He himself, meanwhile, gripped a black killing sword and charged at a demon path false core cultivator. The magical sword glowed black and dazzling, and with a slice, a fierce black dragon emerged that roared fearsomely and tore through the void, making onlookers' mental spirits tremble. Boom! Seeing this, the demon path false core immortal immediately placed a gourd magical treasure in front of him, spewing water and fire to form various barriers, blocking this assault. At the same time he looked to the others for help, hoping they would assist. After all, he was just a lowly false core. If he had to face Yun Jianfeng alone, he feared he would be suppressed within one round. Moreover, Yun Jianfeng was clearly filled with murderous intent at the moment. Killing a person was far simpler than capturing and suppressing them. Other golden cores and false cores seeing this exchanged glances, each unleashing their magical treasures and divine skills, moving to assist. Some directly attacked the buildings and cultivators inside the city, hoping to distract Yun Jianfeng. Evil creature, die by my hand. Returns in Yun Jianfeng's eyes sparkled like lightning, mana from his golden core surged within, and he transformed into an unparalleled magical sword that could pierce the heavens. Countless annihilating sword chi emerged around him, dense and covering the sky like a tidal dragon surging through the void, annihilating everything. Boom, 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 the myriad sword chi in the void tore through all the assaulting forces like a tidal wave. Simultaneously, the demon path false core, whose face had turned pale blocking the black dragon sword light, coughed up blood and his body split in two, dying instantly. This assault attacked not only the physical body but also contained the supreme power of the golden core, oppressing the soul and leaving him wholly unable to resist. Is this the power of a golden core true person? The Juejin sword Yun Jianfeng. The others, seeing this, had unsightly expressions. It was horrifying. Yun Jianfeng's power was terrifying. They had all just acted together to block him, but Yun Jianfeng alone had broken through all their assaults. And he had instantly slain a false core true person. At this rate all of them would die here. Chapter 488. Cackling Rampage Self-Detonation of the True Elixir. Kill, even if I die, I want to take a few with me. Another nascent soul immortal from the demon path, seeing the situation, had a fierce expression and sacrificed a small mountain magical treasure, carrying the power of landslides and earth splits, and directly smashed it towards Jiuxiao Mountain in the center of the Immortal City. He wanted to use this method to influence and destroy the spirit vein beneath the Immortal City. After all, the third-rank spirit vein and the main vein were located right below Jiuxiao Mountain. If Jiuxiao Mountain collapsed, the entire Immortal City spirit vein would also be affected. Subdue. The voice of the true person in charge of the Celestial City formation was magnificent, causing a five-colored rainbow light to immediately fall from the sky, enveloping the small mountain magical treasure and intercepting it. Kill? Yun Jianfeng's expression was cold, his killing intent was chilling, and his black magical sword swung in his hand. Pfft. A domineering, all-annihilating burst of sword chi exploded into existence in the void. This demonic path false core, just after sacrificing his magical treasure, with his body affected by the great formation of the Immortal City, was unconsciously severed in two by this sword chi. A look of astonishment appeared on his face. He had no idea how this sword chi had appeared or how he had died. Everyone present who witnessed this scene felt a chill in their hearts and their hair stood on end. One sword. Just one sword and a nascent soul immortal had died just like that. He died so easily. This was not just the difference between the initial stage of core formation and the late stage of core formation. It was also the gap between true elixir and golden core. Today all of you will pay the price. Yun Jianfeng's expression was indifferent, showing no mercy as his killing sword continued to slash towards others. Stop him quickly, my great inversion divine power is about to be complete, shouted another nascent soul immortal who was casting a divine skill. But now, only 2 nascent soul immortals remained at his side. The rest were all false core and foundation establishment cultivators. Under such circumstances, who would dare to take action? They could only continue to bombard the great formation with all their might. Heavenly Spider, go! Nangong Meili saw this scene, bit her silver teeth, and let her purple jade spider rush out. Now that the other 2 were fully focused on breaking the formation, she could only step in and delay Yun Jianfeng. Hiss hiss hiss. This purple jade spider, with 12 pairs of eyes emitting a demonic luster, spat out a clear and translucent purple web, aiming to seal off this part of the void. Immediately afterward, Nangong Meili slapped her spiritual beast bag, and 6 spirit snakes and a dense swarm of poison bees flew out. These 6 spirit snakes and poison bees did not fly towards Yun Jianfeng but scattered in all directions. Woo woo woo, she also blew her purple jade flute, emitting an invisible wave of mana. Upon hearing this sound, the purple jade spider, spirit snakes and poison bees all began to increase in strength. Especially the purple jade spider, which grew from human size to a height of a zhang, its body radiating purple light that was daunting to the soul. Umph. Yun Jianfeng saw this scene and snorted coldly, his face disdainful. A fierce and domineering burst of black sword chi was slashed out, instantly reducing the large web spun by the purple jade spider in front of him to dust. Meanwhile, sword lights imbued with terrifying might slashed toward the 6 spirit snakes. These 6 spirit snakes were all second-rank demon beasts. Moreover, they were poisonous beasts nurtured through secret techniques superior to ordinary demon beasts. But facing the 6 black sword lights, they were sliced into 2, blood splattering everywhere as they died instantly. Nangong Meili's face turned pale at this scene. Though these spirit snakes were not her life-bound poisonous beasts, they were still spiritually connected to her. Now that all were slain, it had a significant impact on her. However, she also knew that at this moment, this was the only way to delay Yun Jianfeng. She blew her jade flute, scattering the poisonous bees, intending to wreak havoc in the Immortal City, forcing the Celestial City formation to act against the bees. Whoosh! But the very next moment, a black sword chi filled with annihilating and devastating might shot straight at her. Hiss hiss hiss. The purple jade spider was enveloped in a sinister purple glow, looking vicious and dreadful, its 12 pairs of eyes striking terror, as it spat out webs one after another. Its 8 legs, like spears, shone with a frightful and crystalline sharpness. Puff! Under the annihilating black sword chi, the web was turned to ash and dust. The sword chi burst forth again, keen and tyrannical, obliterating all in its path, forcing the purple jade spider to thrust its legs sharply forward like deadly spears. Clang clang clang. Ow ow ow. The crystalline sharp spider spears, when faced with the sword chi, were severed one by one, causing the purple jade spider to reveal a look of agonized wailing. Puff! Another fierce and tyrannical black sword light tore through the sky, slicing the fearsome vast body of the purple jade spider in 2. Its crystalline, translucent purple blood spattered forth. Puff! Nangong Meili, who was in the midst of playing her jade flute, immediately spat out a mouthful of blood, her complexion pale and feeble. This purple jade spider was her life-bound heavenly spider, deeply connected to her existence. Now that it had been slain by Yun Jianfeng, she too had sustained severe injuries. The Juejin sword, Yun Jianfeng, how terrifying! Nangong Meili's countenance was ghastly. This purple jade spider was a 3rd-rank poisonous beast, and it had just had its strength temporarily boosted under her technique stimulation. Yet it was still slain by Yun Jianfeng with 3 strikes. Such power was simply despairing. Old Yen, is your divine power ready yet? Nangong Meili's face was ashen as she looked towards the nascent soul immortal, who was casting a great divine power to break the formation, and called out. Now that she had used her life-bound heavenly spider to delay Yun Jianfeng. If it was still not enough, she would not continue to stand in the way of her own death. Because to kill her, Yun Jianfeng would need at most 2 strikes. Inversion. Rise. The nascent soul immortal, referred to as Old Yen, did not speak. He slapped his chest fiercely, then let out a feeble, long whistle. Chapter 489, Cackling Rampage, Self-Detonation of the True Elixir. _4 array flags fluttered all over, magical beads rotated, core formation mana surged wildly within, stirring the winds and clouds of heaven and earth. In an instant, boom boom boom, the entire immortal city at this moment seemed to violently shake. Following that, the white jade floor beneath the feet of the one called Old Ghost Yen shattered, the fractures spreading like a spider web, continuously extending around. At the same time, this patch of ground began to slowly rise. Great inversion divine power. A divine skill only nascent soul immortals could display. It could turn mountains upside down, break formations, kill enemies, affect ley lines, and for a brief period, break the small world formed by a third-rank great formation. Although it wasn't as terrifying as the earth-shaking formation, which could directly destroy the foundation of a ley line, its might was still quite astonishing. Suppress. The celestial city formation, which isolated heaven and earth, frantically surged with pent-up five-colored clouds, attempting to suppress this divine power. Now, Old Ghost Yan's eyes suddenly opened wide, his pupils filled with bloodshot veins, his expression somewhat fierce as he shouted loudly. As his words fell, everyone attacked the formation before them without holding back. Break the law spike. Break the band talisman. Heavenly thunder pearl. Divine skills and magical treasures, talismans and strange artifacts bombarded the immortal city furiously, seeking to blast open a rift and escape the immortal city. Under the influence of the great inversion divine power, this small world, which was self-contained, became disrupted, leading to a weak spot in the formation before them, and immediately a crack blasted open. It's open, it's broken through. Go. Hurry up, it won't be long before this crack restores itself. No one dared to delay, wanting to take the chance to escape right now. Thinking of fleeing? It's not that easy. Yun Jianfeng watched this scene and let out a cold snort. With a single sword strike, sword light dazzled heaven and earth, as if a cataclysm had descended, filling the space with countless destructive dark gases, blocking the crack that had appeared in the Great Formation. If one wished to escape the Great Formation through the crack, they would have to endure his sword chi. This sword chi would kill any ordinary Foundation establishment cultivator upon contact. He held the killing sword, continuing to pursue the three nascent soul cultivators before him. Demonic disintegration technique. In the distance, Xianxia, who was captured and suppressed by the Heavenly Sword sect, was now covered in blood red, his veins bulging, his flesh etched with blood-colored runes. Melee run. He suddenly let out a long howl, rising into the sky, shockingly choosing to self-destruct his true elixir. No good. Even Yun Jianfeng's expression changed upon witnessing this scene. Unexpectedly, Xianxia had some sort of secret technique that allowed him, at the expense of his life, to break the seal and suppression, and execute the true elixir self-destruction technique. You should know, in the cultivation world, there is a saying that nascent soul cultivators and above can carry a wisp of soul with them after death, reincarnating and cultivating anew in the future, awakening their previous wisdom. But once one chose to self-destruct, the true elixir, physical body, and soul would be instantaneously obliterated, leaving no trace in the world, with no chance for reincarnation. Thus, very few nascent soul cultivators would choose to self-destruct their true elixir. However, the power of such self-destruction was indeed tremendously shocking, even for Yun Jianfeng, a golden core true person, who also had to retreat a fair distance. Sword sealing the heavens and earth. His black magical sword slashed, countless sword chi filled the air around him, sealing the void around Xianxia to prevent his self-destruction from causing too much damage to the immortal city. Meanwhile, the true person presiding over the celestial city formation at this moment also fully operated the immortal city to seal the void and suppress the power of Xianxia's self-destruction. Boom. The next moment, Xianxia executed the true elixir self-destruction technique, causing the entire immortal city to resound with an earth-shattering explosion. And Nangong Meili and others took this opportunity to break through Yun Jianfeng's sword chi seal, escaping from Jiuxiao Immortal City through the minute crack. Chapter 490, Enhancement of Yin-Yang Energies, a Premonition of War. _1 in a cave dwelling. What kind of demon cultivator is this, creating such a commotion in Immortal City? Lu Changxing was employing the Yin-Yang Nirvana art, trying to save Ling Zixio's life and heal her injuries. When he heard the explosive noise outside that shook heaven and earth, his heart skipped a beat. He had no idea what was happening in Immortal City. Earlier he had heard a grand and vast voice. It announced that Immortal City had activated the formation to suppress a demon cultivator. But the commotion caused by this suppression of a demon cultivator truly felt astonishing to him. I hope it won't affect us here. Lu Changxing looked at the fair and voluptuous body in front of him, exhaled softly, and dared not to be too distracted. He continued to concentrate, using talismans and mana to arrange the dragon roar of yang energy within Ling Xixiu's body while applying the yin-yang nirvana art and life transference technique to nourish her flesh and warm her meridians and dantian. Underneath the earth-shattering explosive noise, Ling Xixiu's hazy consciousness also gained some clarity. However, her condition was still extremely poor. She felt frail and weak all over, extraordinarily feeble. She could only rely on the continuous life force from Lu Changxing to soothe the backlash of the dragon roar physique. And so, time passed by bit by bit. It wasn't much longer. Ling Zixiao moaned softly, her body trembling violently. Though her delicate body was still powerless, like a pile of soft mud and water, she was no longer so frail and in danger. Phew! Seeing that Ling Xixiu's condition had finally stabilized, Lu Changxing let out a sigh of relief. Ha! He gave a firm shout, activated his cultivation technique, and began the final stabilizing treatment. After a while, when the last wave of treatment was finished, Lu Changxing's face showed exhaustion and fatigue. After all, such high-intensity treatment not only consumed physical and mental spirit but also drained the essence and lifespan from his origin source. Ling Xixiu's beautiful face was flushed, her eyes misty. She propped up her slender arm and wrapped it around Lu Changxing's neck, offering a kiss. Before this, although she and Lu Changxing were partners, it was, to put it bluntly, a trade of interest. It was purely transactional, devoid of any emotions. Her intimate actions with Lu Changxing were simply because she found him physically appealing. Thinking that her life was not long, and she had yet to experience this aspect, she tried to accept it. After all, the two would have to solve the problems of the dragon roar physique through dual cultivation, which inevitably meant reaching this level of intimacy sooner or later. But now, after these days of blissful love and brushes with death, her attitude towards Lu Changxing had changed. It was no longer pure transactional or a trade of interests. Under the backlash of the dragon roar physique, with endless yang energy burning her body, her consciousness became hazy, sinking into an abyss of endless darkness. Lu Changxing, consuming the life of his origin source, pulled her from that abyss, stirring up inexplicable feelings deep within her heart. This burgeoning sentiment made her view Lu Changxing with a bit more sincerity. As long as Lu Changxing did not let her down and could solve the issues of the dragon roar physique, even if he was a flower-picking fiend cultivator, she would accept him. Tsk, Lu Changxing, faced with Ling Xixiu's kiss, warmly reciprocated. He knew that a woman, after going through such an ordeal, would be much more emotional. It was a good opportunity to build their relationship. After all, although they were partners, their relationship was like boarding the carriage first and buying the ticket later, lacking an emotional foundation. Thus, to have her sincerely become the mother of his child, it was natural to foster these emotions. Their necks entwined, they kissed with smacking sounds, like a pair of newlyweds, affectionate and loving. After a good while, equivalent to half a cup of tea's time, their lips finally parted reluctantly. Zixiao, how do you feel about your condition now? Lu Changxing asked softly, caressing every inch of the soft and delicate snowy back of the beautiful woman beside him. He could tell that Ling Zixiao was stable now but still extremely weak. As for the condition of the dragon roar physique, he had no idea. He didn't know how the bit of dragon roar origin that he had harvested with the dragon invocation technique had affected Ling Zixiao, the benefits or detriments it could bring. Ling Zixiao remained silent upon hearing this. She closed her eyes, quietly sensing the changes in her dragon roar physique. After a long while, she opened her beautiful eyes, showing a hint of joy. Lu Lang, my dragon roar physique has been temporarily suppressed. Oh. Lu Changxing raised his eyebrows in surprise upon hearing this. He hadn't expected it to be suppressed so easily. However, Ling Xixiu's brows furrowed slightly as she continued, but I feel that the dragon roar physique is simply using the continuously dissipating dragon roar yang energy to repair the lost origin source. Once the dragon roar origin that you've harvested is restored, I'm afraid the endless outflow of dragon roar yang energy will resume. Ling Zixiao nestled into Lu Changxing's embrace, her voice weak and feeble. The dragon roar physique constantly emitted dragon roar yang energy as her cultivation level and strength increased. This stream of yang energy not only caused an imbalance in her yin and yang but was also incessantly burning her meridians and dantian. Now, with Lu Changxing having harvested and plundered a strand of dragon roar origin, the outflow of yang energy from her dragon roar physique had been slowed. But as soon as the origin source of her dragon roar physique recovered, it would be like before, continuously emitting dragon roar yang energy, withering her meridians and life. The origin source of a spiritual body can actually repair itself? Lu Changxing was somewhat astonished when he heard this. As far as he knew, it was very difficult to replenish a damaged origin source of a spiritual body. He hadn't expected that Ling Zixio's dragon roar physique could actually heal itself after he had harvested a strand of its origin source. Chapter 491, Yin-Yang Energies Enhancement, Prelude to War. This is indeed quite astonishing. Is this a feature of the dragon roar physique? Or did I absorb too little of the dragon roar origin source? Lu Changxing was puzzled in his heart. He did not dwell on it and continued to ask, Zishao, how long will it take for your dragon roar physique to recover on its own? If the dragon roar physique could constantly recover and quickly at that, it would be troublesome. Because this absorption had made Ling Zixio's body extremely weak. Even with the Nirvana art and the life transference technique, these two secret techniques, she would not be able to withstand another absorption by the dragon invocation technique in a short period of time. She must recuperate well, wait for her vital energy to recover, before she could undergo a second absorption. I'm not too clear on this either, maybe a year, possibly half a year. Ling Zixiao lightly shook her head and spoke softly. Half a year, a year. Hearing this, Lu Changxing's brows furrowed slightly. Based on his estimation for Ling Zixiao to recuperate her body, it would take at least 3 to 4 months, or even half a year. By that progress, Ling Zixio's dragon roar physique would also have more or less recovered. Under such circumstances, it would be very difficult for him to completely absorb and plunder the origin source of the dragon roar physique. It's uncertain how many times he would need to absorb to completely plunder the dragon roar origin source. True, each strand of dragon roar origin source was beneficial to him. But the issue was that each absorption of the dragon roar origin source, the eruption of the dragon roar physique, would bring a life-threatening danger to Ling Zixiao. To stabilize Ling Zixio's vitality, he needed to pay a huge price and consume lifespan. So, he could not keep solving Ling Zixio's problem in this manner. After all, he was just a foundation establishment cultivator, with only over 200 years of lifespan. If too much of his lifespan was lost, it would affect other aspects of his life as well. Now that I've broken through the 5th layer of the 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art, as long as I refine the 9 Treasure Jade Rui into my life-bound treasured bone and obtain the 9 great divine abilities, perhaps I can treat Zishao's condition with the healing divine light, Lu Changxing pondered. The biggest problem with Ling Zixiao under the backlash of the dragon roar physique was the withering and fragility of her meridians and dantian. If he could nourish and restore Ling Zixio's body, meridians and dantian, then, by using the dragon invocation technique to absorb the dragon roar origin source, she would not face a life or death situation from the backlash. Thus, he wouldn't need to pay such a high price to extend Ling Zixio's life. He could use heavenly and earthly treasures and other ways to let Ling Zixiao gradually recover. Don't worry. In the time to come, you take good care of yourself, recover well. Whatever elixir medicines you need, I will concoct them for you directly, Lu Changxing said as he embraced Ling Zixiao in his arms. Lu Lang, if I consume too many spiritual medicines and heavenly and earthly treasures to nourish my body and meridians during this period, I'm afraid it will hasten the recovery of the dragon roar physique. Ling Zixiao pursed her lips and confided to Lu Changxing about the characteristics of the dragon roar physique. She had broken through to foundation establishment many years ago. But her cultivation level had not advanced one bit. She was still at the first level of foundation establishment. On one hand, the backlash from the dragon roar physique when breaking through to foundation establishment caused her meridians and dantian to wither, making it difficult to cultivate. On the other hand, she dared not cultivate. If she cultivated or even consumed elixir medicines and spiritual medicines, it would cause the dragon roar physique to absorb these energies, converting them into the dragon roar of yang energy. The more dragon roar of yang energy in her body, the more vigorous it became, making the withering of her meridians and lifespan faster. This is also why she only purchased cold and yin spiritual medicines and heavenly and earthly treasures from others. Because only cold and yin spiritual medicines and treasures would not be absorbed by the dragon roar physique. They could suppress the dragon roar of yang energy. Hiss. Lu Changxing took in a deep breath, feeling that the dragon roar physique was really troublesome. In that case, a great number of spirit pills and spiritual medicines could not be used on Ling Zixiao. He could only try to find more cold and yin attribute elixir medicines and spiritual medicines. He exhaled gently and comforted her in a soft voice, "Don't worry with me here, I'll find a way." Upon hearing these words, an unprecedentedly sweet sense of security surged in Ling Zixio's heart. On her journey she had experienced many things. But she had never been tenderly cared for like a woman before. Now she finally experienced this feeling. And it made her feel very nice. Because of mental exhaustion, Ling Zixiao nestled into Lu Changsheng's arms, her eyelashes gradually drooping, her pale complexion revealing a tranquil smile as she slowly drifted to sleep. Hearing the even and rhythmic breathing of the beauty, Lu Changsheng gently held the fragrant and soft beauty, his palms softly caressing her smooth and delicate skin. In his heart, he silently invoked, "System." Suddenly, the system interface appeared before his eyes. Name, Lu Changsheng. Identity, son-in-law of the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain. Cultivation level, Foundation Establishment 2nd level, lifespan, 38/263, talents, 4th grade spiritual root, Gingjin body constitution, intermediate spiritual body, blood talisman spiritual body, superior spiritual body, cultivation techniques, 100 refinements treasure body art, 7 luminaries great freedom sword scripture, yin-yang harmony technique, 99 mystical talisman scripture, immortal beauty technique, spells, 7 luminary sword radiance, 7 luminary sword shield, 7 luminary sword escape, items, misty sky bead, profound origin bead, book of malevolent curses and fates, luminous treasure tree, golden armor bean mother scripture, life substituting talisman, coagulation crystal elixir. Magical treasures, 9 treasure jade rui, black dragon magical bead, 100 steeds towering pagoda lock. Skills, alchemy 2nd rank, talisman making 2nd rank, puppetry 2nd rank, spirit slaughterer 2nd rank, spiritual pets, Mount Sumeru Tree King 9 Netherhound 6-winged golden silkworm, cold blue dark turtle, peach blossom goo hope goo, offspring, 153 out of 153, lost 6 years of lifespan. Lu Changsheng looked at the lifespan section on the system panel. He felt that he must think of other methods to resolve Ling Zixio's issues. Chapter 492, Yin-Yang Energies Enhancement, Omen of War. Alone with the Dragon Invocation Technique, the Nirvana Art, and the Life Transference Technique, trying to solve the Dragon Roar Physique was basically impossible. Unless he had infinite lifespan. Otherwise, with his lifespan of just over 200 years of Foundation establishment, he simply couldn't withstand it. The main problem, he mused, is still the backlash from the Dragon Roar Physique erupting. If during the process of collecting life essence, a certain kind of yin-cold power is used to suppress this Dragon Roar primordial force, it would be much simpler for me to collect life essence. Lu Changsheng reflected on the previous experience of collecting life essence from the Dragon Roar Physique using the Dragon Invocation Technique. He felt that as long as he had certain treasures or powers to suppress the backlash of the Dragon Roar origin source while he was collecting life essence, he could then proceed with the collection of life essence from the Dragon Roar Physique with peace of mind. There would be no need to immediately use a secret technique to stabilize Ling Zixio's condition right after collecting a thread of origin source. However, to suppress the backlash of the Dragon Roar Physique, you would need at least 3rd-rank spiritual medicine, treasures, or ask a nascent soul immortal who cultivates Yin-Chill attribute technique to make a move. Lu Changsheng knew that ordinary elixir medicines and treasures simply couldn't contain the backlash of the Dragon Roar Physique. At least a 3rd-rank treasure would be necessary. While it was true that all the items he obtained from the system lottery were of the 3rd rank, the chance of drawing just the right spiritual medicine or treasure that could help Ling Zixiao was extremely slim. As for a nascent soul immortal who practiced Yin-Chill attribute technique, Lu Changsheng couldn't even imagine it was possible. Even if he could afford to pay a great price to request the help of a nascent soul immortal, he wouldn't have the face to ask someone to suppress the backlash with Yin-Chill mana while he was collecting life essence. Forget it, I can only take it slow now that the Dragon Roar of Yang energy is receding, and the Yin-Yang balance is temporarily stable, there's no need to worry about lifespan for the time being, Lu Changsheng reassured himself. Given Ling Zixio's original condition where her meridians and dantian were continually withering, she would have been lucky to live another year. Now that most of the Dragon Roar Yang energy within her body had been collected, there was no need to worry about life-threatening danger for a year or two. Therefore he still had plenty of time to resolve Ling Zixio's issues. At that moment, Lu Changxing thought of the time when he had collected the Dragon Roar origin source, only to have it devoured and refined by the yin-yang energies. He looked towards the yin-yang energies swirling around his yin-yang 5 elements foundation base in his Qi Ocean core. The yin-yang energies, after devouring and refining the Dragon Roar origin source, seemed to have grown slightly stronger. He had a vague feeling that his foundation, his Dao foundation, might also have improved a bit. However, this improvement was so subtle and small that it wasn't immediately noticeable. Could my Dao foundation still improve? Lu Changxing looked at the circulating yin-yang energies and thought to himself. He looked forward to continuing the collection of Dragon Roar origin source, now with a bit more anticipation. He was curious to see if, after the yin-yang energies had devoured enough Dragon Roar origin source, his Dao foundation might experience a significant improvement, and perhaps even transform. If it were to transform, that would be quite extraordinary. Phew. Feeling the fatigue in his body and mind, Lu Changxing decided not to ponder further. Embracing the warm and tender figure in his arms, he closed his eyes and slowly drifted off to sleep. 3 days later, Lu Changxing and Ling Zixiao walked out of their cave dwelling. At this moment, the two of them seemed closer and more natural together, like a well-matched couple. Walking in the Immortal City, Lu Changxing could see that there was a marked increase in patrolling law enforcement cultivators. I wonder what happened in the city in the past few days. Lu Changxing thought back to a few days ago when he was treating Ling Zixiao. Meanwhile, the Celestial City was suppressing demon cultivators. Ling Zixiao was also curious. Although her mind had been hazy at the time, she vaguely sensed that there had been considerable commotion within the city. Soon the two of them inquired about the past few days' happenings. They learned that a few days ago, several nascent soul demon cultivators were lurking in the Celestial City. Therefore, the Heavenly Sword sect activated the Celestial City formation to suppress and kill these demon cultivators. In the battle, 1 nascent soul immortal was captured and suppressed, 2 nascent soul immortals perished. Had it not been for 1 nascent soul immortal self-destructing, the remaining demonic path cultivators would have nearly all been suppressed and captured. 6 nascent soul immortals and several false core immortals. Lu Changxing and Ling Zixiao were surprised when they heard the news. They hadn't expected the situation to be so severe on that day. It was known that in the Jianghu country cultivation realm, a family force led by a nascent soul immortal was considered a famous and top powerhouse. Yet now, so many demonic path nascent soul and false core cultivators had been hiding in Jiuxiao Immortal City, obviously with no small schemes. At the same time, the two were astonished at the Heavenly Sword sect's actions. They managed to suppress 3 nascent soul immortals in such a short time. No wonder the commotion was so big at the time. Alas, the world of cultivation is becoming more chaotic. I've heard that both the Qingyun sect's domain and the Imperial Spirit sect's domain have seen the appearance of demon cultivators and demonic sects. Yes, wasn't it said that the Heavenly Corpse sect and the 5 Poisons cult from Jin Kingdom challenged the Shenzhen True Monarch from the Heavenly Sword sect? It is still unknown who won or lost in that battle. If the Shenzhen True Monarch is defeated, then our Jianghu country cultivation realm will be in danger. Someone nearby said with a sigh. Lu Changxing heard these words and thought of his journey to Jiuxiao Immortal City, where Xiahou family from the Dark Waters pursued Chu Qingyi. Through these events, he realized that something significant was about to happen in the Jianghu country cultivation realm. His heart sank and he couldn't help but worry. Could a war be about to break out in Jianghu country's cultivation realm? He had read many books in his days. He knew the history of cultivation realms. According to the records of the history of the southern wilderness, there was no shortage of battles between nations. After all, the resources of a country are finite. If progress is stagnant, the easiest solution is naturally conquest. He was able to lead a relatively safe life these past 20 years, thanks also to the relatively stable environment of the Jianghu country cultivation realm. Now, with several demon cultivator incidents, coupled with 2 nascent soul true lords from Jin Kingdom challenging the Shenzhen True Monarch, it seems there are several indications of the prelude to a cultivation realm war. Once war breaks out, the stability will be shattered, and as a member of Jianghu country he would inevitably be affected. Chapter 493. She's actually a disciple of the 5 Poisons cult? Extra for 500 monthly votes. _1. Is Lu Lang concerned about the current situation in the Jianghu country cultivation realm? Heaven Knowledge Tower should have intelligence on this matter. Lu Lang can take a look, so you can have a general understanding of the situation. Ling Zixiao saw a hint of gravity on Lu Changxing's face and spoke in her melodious and clear voice. She knew Lu Changxing was preparing to establish his family's power. If war between the two countries were to break out, such family powers would be easily drawn into it, struggling to maintain neutrality. Good. Lu Changxing nodded. For such matters, instead of making wild guesses himself, it was better to go to the intelligence organization to purchase relevant information. With the relevant information he could better judge the current situation. Moreover, if war were to break out between the two cultivation realms, it wouldn't happen overnight. It would take a process. Soon after, the two arrived on the second floor of Heaven Knowledge Tower. Ling Zixia was familiar with this place and had a membership token, which saved them from many protocols. I want to purchase information about the cultivation realms of Jiang Country and Jin Kingdom. Preferably details on the demonic path incident in Jiuxiao Immortal City and the demonic path incident in the Qingyun region. Lu Changxing got straight to the point. From his recent understanding, he knew the demon cultivators who caused trouble in Jiuxiao Immortal City most likely came from the neighboring cultivation realm of Jin Kingdom. Information between the cultivation realms of Jiang Country and Jin Kingdom is quite extensive. You must be interested in the affairs related to the war between the two countries, right? As for the Jiuxiao Immortal City incident, our establishment has just collected related information these past few days, available in 4 levels. Grade A, B, C, and D, priced at 3,000, 1,800, 1,000, and 600 spirit stones respectively. Regarding the demonic path incident in the Qingyun region, we have 3 levels. Grade A, B, and C, priced at 1,200, 700, and 300 spirit stones respectively. Which level of intelligence does your excellency require? The black-clothed person from Heaven Knowledge Tower spoke calmly. That expensive? Lu Changxing frowned slightly upon hearing this. He said, yes, I need information about the cultivation realms of Jiang Country and Jin Kingdom, such as the sect master of Heavenly Corpse sect, the 5 poisons cult leader, and the challenge to Shenzhen True Monarch Li Duanshuan. For the incidents in Jiuxiao Immortal City and the Qingyun region demonic path, he'll take the grade A intelligence. Lu Changxing stated this. The price was exorbitant. But as someone at the bottom of the cultivation world, his channels for obtaining intelligence were limited. He had no choice but to spend spirit stones to acquire relevant information. As for the sect master of Heavenly Corpse sect, the 5 poisons cult leader, and the challenge to Shenzhen True Monarch Li Duanshuan, currently there's not much in-depth intelligence available. Since the decisive battle is imminent in roughly 10 days, we will have related intelligence information, and at that time, you can come to our Heaven Knowledge Tower. As for the Jiuxiao Immortal City incident and the Qingyun region demonic path incident, that would be a total of 4,200 spirit stones. The black-clothed person spoke, stating it outright. A decisive battle is imminent? Lu Changxing nodded slightly, knowing the challenge must be in the next few days and that it would take several days before the outcome was known. He took out 4,200 spirit stones from his storage bag. In the future, when purchasing further related information on this subject with this jade slip, Your Excellency will only need to pay 50% of the spirit stones. The black-clothed person took out 2 purple jade slips, handed them to Lu Changxing and spoke. Good, thank you. Lu Changxing nodded slightly, received the jade slips, and scanned their content with his divine sense. Indeed, the intelligence was worthy of grade A. Their contents were indeed very detailed. The Jiuxiao Immortal City demonic path incident, origins and related information of these demonic path cultivators were explained. Additionally, what they had been up to around Jiuxiao Immortal City lately was broadly described. It seems like the incident in Jiuxiao Immortal City was indeed Jin Kingdom Cultivation Realm's preparation for invading Jiang Country Cultivation Realm. After reviewing the incident in Jiuxiao Immortal City, Lu Changxing immediately understood. Because these cultivators were primarily from the 3 great demon sects of Jin Kingdom, Heavenly Corpse sect, 5 Poisons cult, and Yiming Ghost sect. The remaining loose cultivators also had intricate relations with these 3 great demon sects. Meng Xiaochan, she is actually a disciple of the Jin Kingdom's 5 Poisons cult? Lu Changxing, recognizing 2 familiar faces from the information in the jade slip, had previously met a woman in a black dress and a girl in a white dress in Jiuxiao Immortal City. Based on the indications from the Peach Blossom Gu, he knew the girl in the white dress was Meng Xiaochan. He had not expected Meng Xiaochan to be a person from the demonic path of Jin Kingdom. The jade slip did not contain detailed information about Meng Xiaochan. It only introduced her general origin. She came from the 5 Poisons cult. As for the woman in black who was with her, the intelligence indicated that she was most likely Nangong Meili, the Heaven Spider emissary of Jin Kingdom's Five Poisons cult. Currently the two were being hunted and wanted by the Heavenly Sword sect. After briefly reviewing this information, Lu Changxing looked at another jade slip, which contained intelligence on the demonic path happenings in the Qingyun region. The Xiahou family of Blackwater Pool served as hidden agents for the Heavenly Corpse sect of Jin Kingdom, with their patriarch Xiahou Jie once being a disciple of Heavenly Corpse sect. Qingyun sect summoned all subordinated forces to expel the Xiahou clan of Blackwater Pool. Xiahou family set up the third-rank clan defending Great Formation Myriad Corpses Dark Eternity Formation, and Qingyun sect broke it with the Earth-Shaking Formation. Patriarch Xiahou Jie, using the Earth Vein energy of Blackwater Pool, turned himself into the Dark Demon Corpse combined with Dao Soldier Corpse, fighting power comparable to mid-nascent soul stage. In this battle, Qingyun sect's Kaiyun True Immortal suffered severe injuries before slaying Xiahou Jie, leading to numerous familia casualties in the Qingyun region. Among them, Bai family ancestor of White Bird Lake perished, Zhao family ancestor of White Tiger Mountain perished, Huang family ancestor of Yellow Cloud Mountain perished. Lu Changxing, reading through the casualty information, immediately paused. He looked carefully and not seeing news of the Lu family ancestor of Qingzhou Mountain's death, he breathed a sigh of relief. Chapter 494, She's actually a disciple of the Five Poisons cult? Extra for 500 monthly votes. If Lu Yuanzhong were to fall in this battle, Qingzhou Mountain would be in danger. His wives, concubines and children are currently all still on Qingzhou Mountain. Ancestor Xiahou Wuwa, a false core immortal who practices the heavenly mysterious Sha technique, has secretly fled during this major battle and is currently still hiding within the Jiang country cultivation realm. The Luo family of Zijin Valley, investigated by the Qingyun sect as a covert agent of the demon path, has been completely eradicated. The loose cultivator Liang Tian is a demonic path cultivator. Lu Changxing roughly finished reading the information related to the demon path incidents in the Qingyun region. The main issue was the commotion caused by the Xiahou family of the Black Water. It was quite significant. Not only did it cause heavy losses to many families and forces in the Qingyun region, but it also injured the nascent soul immortals of the Qingyun sect. So many covert agents and powers of the demon path? It seems that the war between the Jiang country cultivation realm and the Jin Kingdom cultivation realm has been brewing for a while, and it's just that I am at too low of a stage to come into contact with such information, which is why I have been unaware until now. However, the real determinant of the war between nations will still be on Shenzhen True Monarch Li Duanshuan. If this Shenzhen True Monarch can repel the two nascent soul true lords of Jin Kingdom, this crisis will naturally be resolved. If this Shenzhen True Monarch were to be defeated, it's expected that the three great demonic sects of Jin Kingdom would then initiate war. After finishing this information, Lu Changxing came to a rough conclusion in his heart. This conclusion made his heart slightly heavy. After all, it was a 2-against-1 situation. Moreover, according to the information, the duel is initiated by the two great nascent soul true lords of Jin Kingdom challenging Li Duanshuan. This indicates that the situation in Jiang country is very unfavorable. He exhaled lightly, not thinking too much, and walked out of Heaven Knowledge Tower with Ling Zixiao. He handed the information jade slip in his hand to Ling Zixiao. He said aloud, "Zixiao, in about half a month, I'll return to the Qingyun region. The current state of affairs in the cultivation world is unstable." He planned to head back to Qingzhou Mountain as soon as news about the decisive battle between Li Duanshuan and the nascent souls of Jin Kingdom came out. As for Ling Zixiao, if under normal circumstances, since he had not yet established his own family, he wouldn't mind Ling Zixiao continuing to stay in Jiuxiao Immortal City. He would have her come over once he finalized his spiritual land. But the problem was that Ling Zixiao's current condition didn't allow her to be separated from him. Even though her dragon roar physique was suppressed, she still accumulates the dragon roar of yang energy every day. He needs to regularly organize and resolve it using the dragon invocation technique. "Alright, during this half-month I will handle all affairs and then return with you, Lord Lu," Ling Zixiao replied, and from her somewhat pale and frail face emerged an elegant and gentle smile. She settled in Jiuxiao Immortal City for the sake of extending her life, seeking a solution to her dragon roar physique. Now that she found a path to resolving her dragon roar physique, naturally, there was no need to continue staying in Jiuxiao Immortal City. Moreover, according to the spiritual contract and vows they made initially, Lu Changxing is fully committed to resolving her dragon roar physique, and she in turn must help Lu Changxing build up his family. Zixiao, do you have any trustworthy people, channels of relations? In the future, I will likely need to use this channel of relations to purchase or acquire certain materials in Jianghu Immortal City. Lu Changxing mused quietly. After this trip back to Jianghu Mountain, unless there are exceptionally important matters, he definitely wouldn't come to Jianghu Immortal City again. The travel time was just too long. But he has a great demand for rare spiritual medicine and materials for third-rank talisman making. These treasures he could only purchase or procure in an immortal city. Previously he thought of using the Li sisters, Li Xingrua and Li Xingyu as an avenue. Having Li Xingrua purchase certain spiritual medicines and materials in the immortal city for him, and then asking Xianxia to bring them over to him via the Qingyun sect individuals. Now that he has the relationship with Ling Zixiao, he thought about expanding his network of relations through her. Lord Lu, rest assured I have several good friends in the immortal city. If my lord has any needs, just inform me, Ling Zixiao said with a dignified and graceful manner. Although she now had sincere feelings for Lu Changxing, she was clear in her mind that she and Lu Changxing were still at a stage of exchanging benefits. Now that Lu Changxing is doing everything he can to resolve her dragon roar physique, naturally she would help him as much as possible. Moreover, Lu Changxing seeking her help was also a form of trust in her. Good, Lu Changxing nodded his head. Then he parted ways with Ling Zixiao and returned to the Treasure Elixir Pavilion, preparing to continue concocting elixir medicines for Ling Zixiao. If it wasn't for the several furnaces of life-saving elixirs he had concocted before to supplement the dragon roar physique, it was feared that it would cost much more to stabilize Ling Zixiao's condition. Thus, he prepared to concoct some elixir medicines during these days to regulate Ling Zixiao's body. Otherwise, considering Ling Zixiao's current state, her strength might not even match a late-stage energy refinement cultivator. It would be very troublesome if they encountered danger on their way back. Elder Yi, Li Xingyu called out. Upon seeing Lu Changxing, the adorable face of the Treasure Elixir Pavilion's Li Xingyu immediately showed a delighted expression, excitedly shouting. Previously, Lu Changxing had mentioned he would be busy with some matters and couldn't come over. But after not seeing him for over half a month, many people had come to inquire about purchasing elixir medicines, and in just 8 more days, it would be the day of the Immortal City shop assessment, which made her a bit worried. Hee little you, Lu Changxing looked at the young girl, a faint smile appearing on his face. He found the girl's personality quite endearing. Having interacted with her for a while, he also regarded her as a younger generation. After chatting with Li Xingyu for a while, he learned that Li Xingrua had recently been busy contacting second-rank alchemists, hoping to invite an alchemist to preside over the shop. Alright, I am off to concoct elixirs. Lu Changxing simply chatted for a while before heading to the alchemy chamber to start alchemy and talisman making. Why does Elder Yi have the scent of a woman on him? Chapter 495. She's actually a disciple of the Five Poisons cult? Extra for 500 monthly votes. After Lu Changxing left, Li Xingyu sniffed hard, faintly detecting a delicate fragrance typically associated with a woman. Previously she had never smelled this scent on Lu Changxing. In the blink of an eye, 5 days had passed. Inside the alchemy chamber of the Treasure Elixir Pavilion, huff huff huff, 8 miniature dragon heads were exhaling purple flames, causing the fiery red pill furnace to churn with spiritual mechanism, wafting out a faint scent of medicine. Open. At that moment, Lu Changxing looked at the pill furnace where the spiritual mechanism surged, forming hand seals as he executed the spell to open the furnace. The lid of the furnace flew up, with steam and glowing mist filling the entire room. Swoosh swoosh swoosh, among the waves of heat 9 elixir pills fell into Lu Changxing's hands. These 9 frost elixirs should be somewhat effective for Zixiao's current condition, Lu Changxing said, holding the pills and exhaling softly. Like the commonly seen cold attribute pills, Ling Zixiao had taken too many of them to the point they were ineffective. After inquiring about Ling Zixiao's condition and what pills she had taken, he chose to refine these frost elixirs. The main effect of these frost elixirs was to dispel fire toxins. But they also had healing and marrow cleansing effects. Using such pills for Ling Zixiao was a considerable waste. But there was no other way. Given Ling Zixiao's current condition, ordinary spirit pills were completely ineffective. She could only rely on such elixirs to stabilize her condition and nurture her health. After finishing the elixir production, Lu Changxing walked out of the alchemy chamber. He prepared to visit the formation shop of Zixiao to clear out the dragon roar of yang energy within Ling Zixiao. Senior Yi. In the store's main hall, Li Xingrua had returned. Seeing Lu Changxing, she immediately raised her voice and called out. Xingrua, how is it going? Have you managed to invite a second-rank alchemist? Lu Changxing asked with a smile upon seeing Li Xingrua. Not yet. Li Xingrua pursed her lips slightly upon hearing this, a trace of dejection appearing on her face. Although the Li family would no longer target their treasure elixir pavilion, second-rank alchemists were extremely rare. Finding a second-rank alchemist to take up residence on short notice wasn't easy. It's okay, there's no need to rush. By the way, there are only a few days left for the Immortal City Shop assessment registration, isn't it? Lu Changxing spoke in a gentle voice. He was well aware that inviting a second-rank alchemist to stay would take time. Yes, the registration day for the assessment is in 3 days. Li Xingrua nodded lightly in confirmation. All right, I have something to attend to and will step out for a while. I will make sure to come back on time. Lu Changxing nodded and said aloud. Thank you, Senior Yi. Li Xingrua immediately expressed her gratitude, her face brimming with appreciation. Haha, there's no need for thanks. Lu Changxing chuckled, waved his hand, and walked out of the treasure elixir pavilion toward the Zixiao formation shop. Senior, please wait a moment. Upon hearing Lu Changxing's intention, the shopkeeper immediately went to inform Ling Zixiao. It wasn't long before, with her hair lightly coiffed, her face gracefully beautiful, dressed in a lake blue skirt, and carrying herself in a voluptuous and graceful manner, Ling Zixiao descended from the upstairs. She knew Lu Changxing preferred not to reveal his identity in front of too many people. As usual, her voice was soft and composed as she elegantly said, Taoist Yi, follow me. Immediately she took Lu Changxing up to the 3rd floor of the shop. The 3rd floor was her usual living and resting area, where outsiders were not allowed to come. Knowing that Ling Zixiao was somewhat of a beauty enthusiast, Lu Changxing then removed the disguise of the misty sky bead. Lu Lang, I am currently selling this shop. As for business and affairs, I have already turned them all down. Regarding the procurement and acquisition of materials you mentioned, I have contacted a few friends. In the future, if Lu Lang needs such services, I could ask them to undertake the procurement and acquisition on your behalf, then entrust it to either the Nine Heavens Commerce Guild or the Qingyun Commerce Guild to deliver to the Qingyun region. I have already looked into it. The Nine Heavens Commerce Guild of the Heavenly Sword Sect and the Qingyun Commerce Guild of the Qingyun Sect often interact and have such business services, Ling Zixiao said, speaking thus. Oh, so the guild can deliver directly to the Qingyun region? Upon hearing this, Lu Changxing raised an eyebrow. He had previously thought about having the people from the Qingyun sect collect the materials through Xianxia. It seemed now that it would be sufficient to have them directly delivered by the Commerce Guild. Yes, the guilds typically provide this kind of service. Ling Zixiao nodded with a slight smile, indicating that the major commerce guilds did indeed conduct such business and had such services. However, the price was quite high and they charged based on a percentage of the total value of the goods. But the upside was that they guaranteed safety and credibility. Good Zixiao, later I will give you a list. You can have them purchase externally separately, and once a certain quantity is reached, entrust the guild to send it over, Lu Changxing promptly said. With this channel in place, he could slowly gather many of the materials and spiritual medicines he needed in Immortal City. Procuring them externally himself could also greatly reduce the cost. This was unlike before when he had to buy at high prices from large commerce guilds and shops. After he finished speaking, he took out a frost elixir and said, Zixiao, this is the elixir I have crafted for you. See how it works? Thank you, Lu Lang. Ling Zixiao responded with a tender smile, receiving the porcelain bottle. She poured out a blue crystal-clear elixir. Is this a frost elixir? She immediately recognized the elixir. Yes, it is indeed a frost elixir. Given your current condition, most elixirs are ineffective, but since you haven't taken a frost elixir before, it will help you regulate your body somewhat. Lu Changxing nodded as he said this. You've gone to great lengths, Lu Lang. A hint of emotion surfaced on Ling Zixiao's face. She had learned about the various cooling and healing elixirs in her initial attempt to treat her injuries. The reason she hadn't taken many frost elixirs was partly due to their high cost, and also because their cost-effectiveness was too low. The main effect of the frost elixir was to remove fire poison, with secondary effects of marrow cleansing and healing. To take the frost elixir for its minor healing efficacy was a severe waste. It's no trouble. As long as I can help you get your body in order, it's all worth it, Lu Changxing waved his hand and said in a warm tone. He could rely on his own second-rank alchemy skills, and that he could craft the elixirs himself. Otherwise, given Ling Xixiu's current condition, she was utterly a gold-consuming giant. Even an abundance of spirit stones would not withstand such expenditure. However, seeing the expression in Ling Xixiu's eyes made him feel that it was all worth it. After all, he was not unaware that initially, Ling Xixiu's interactions with him were all an act. But after spending some time together, her affection for him had clearly grown. As long as he kept it up and continued to build rapport, the chances were good that she would wholeheartedly become the mother of his child in the future. Ling Zixiao smiled, nodding her head gently. She came to the bedside, removed her lake blue exquisitely embroidered shoes, revealing her slender and delicate ankles beneath her dress, and her jade feet wrapped in snow-white silk stockings. Then she sat down cross-legged, took the frost elixir and began to assimilate it. Chapter 496. Lost a 2 versus 1 battle, can you even play? _1 Ling Zixiao sat cross-legged on the bed. After taking the frost elixir, strands of cold air emanated and flowed around her body. Lu Changxing quietly observed the effects of the frost elixir on Ling Zixiao. After a long time he came to a conclusion. There were effects, but indeed they were quite average. Compared to the time and cost spent, it was truly disappointing. Unless there is a third-rank elixir or some rare cold attribute elixir medicines. Otherwise, wanting to regulate and nourish the body and heal the withered meridians and dantian is too difficult. Lu Changxing sighed softly in his heart. However, he had not given up. Once Ling Zixiao finished assimilating the elixir, he passed on the tender embrace technique, a dual cultivation technique, to her. This technique belonged to the higher tier of dual cultivation techniques. Both the male and female participants would benefit. It would definitely help in Ling Zixiao's recovery. Ling Zixiao saw that Lu Changxing had taken out another secret dual cultivation technique and didn't quite know what to say. She wondered if Lu Changxing had obtained some kind of romantic inheritance. Why were all his techniques related to dual cultivation? However, she did not ask much more. Under Lu Changxing's guidance, she quickly understood the technique. Straight away the two began their cultivation. Afterward, Lu Lang, I can't do this anymore. Just once, and Ling Zixiao's face turned crimson like a puddle of mud, nestling in Lu Changxing's embrace. On the one hand, the effort of the tender embrace technique was rather intense. On the other hand, her current physical condition was truly very bad. After her Dragon Roar origin source was depleted and she suffered from the backlash of the Dragon Roar physique, her body was extremely weak. If said that before, she still counted as a foundation establishment cultivator, and could exert a 10th or 20th of her mana. Then now, her strength wasn't even comparable to some energy refinement late-stage cultivators. It's alright, take it slow. Lu Changxing's palms were gentle and soft, his soothing voice comforting the beauty. He knew that healing was not something to be rushed. Lu Lang, in a few more days you will be going back. How do you plan to arrange for the sisters at Treasure Elixir Pavilion? Ling Zixiao snuggled in Lu Changxing's arms, whispering. My encounters with them were fleeting, what plans could I possibly have? Lu Changxing felt puzzled upon hearing this. My lord, didn't you go to the Treasure Elixir Pavilion with the intention of taking the Li sisters under your wing? I see that both sisters are quite pretty, especially the elder sister, who's not only extremely beautiful but also a high-quality alchemist. With your tutelage and guidance, Lu Lang, I reckon it won't be an issue for her to become a second-rank alchemist in the future. Ling Zixiao drew circles on Lu Changxing's chest with her slender jade fingers, smiling as she spoke. Although through the days they spent together, her perception of Lu Changxing had changed, she still believed that Lu Changxing's choice to settle in the Treasure Elixir Pavilion was because he fancied the Li sisters. What nonsense are you speaking? Am I the kind of man to take in every woman I see? I just saw that the two girls had it hard, and as it happened, I lent them a hand. Lu Changxing was somewhat speechless. He had a good impression of the two sisters, but he only regarded them as juniors. Besides, who would consider taking home anyone they meet to have children? Although he had thought about it when he first saw Li Xingrua, it was just a fleeting thought. Yes, indeed, I also find the sisters pitiable, orphaned and with no one to rely on. If they could be taken in by you, Lu Lang, they would then have someone to rely on. Ling Zixiao's skin was rosy and delicate, and she said with a half-smile. It seems you're getting spirited again. When he heard this, Lu Changxing immediately pressed her beneath him. No, my lord, have mercy, Ling Zixio's call turned into a startled cry, her luscious voice beginning to falter, soon becoming intermittent and indistinct. 3 days later. Master Yi, you've been a great help. That day, Lu Changxing and Li Xingrua came to the 100 Arts Hall in Immortal City for their assessment registration. There weren't many people. After all, the number of second-rank artisans in the entire Immortal City was limited. Furthermore, not every second-rank artisan would become the featured attraction of a particular shop and come to participate in the assessment registration. Is this Master Yi Fan? As soon as Lu Changxing and Li Xingrua entered the alchemy hall, someone recognized him and greeted him politely. This is the owner of Little Dan Tower, a second-rank lower-tier alchemist. Li Xingrua introduced the man to Lu Changxing via telepathic message. Indeed, it's Yi. A pleasure to meet you. Lu Changxing did not know the person, but you don't slap a smiling face. Seeing that the other party was so polite, he naturally returned the greeting with courtesy. During the process, several more alchemists and elixir shop owners came to chat and greet Lu Changxing, expressing interest in having tea together and sharing their understanding of alchemy. After all, in the span of 3 months, Lu Changxing had earned a modest reputation in Immortal City. Not only could he refine second-rank superior elixir medicines, but most of the elixirs he refined were of fine and supreme quality. This was quite astonishing. Lu Changxing responded courteously to all of them, and afterward, he indicated that he would go into seclusion for cultivation after some time. If they knew any second-rank alchemists, they could introduce him or her to come to Treasure Elixir Pavilion to become a featured alchemist. Upon hearing this, several alchemists mentioned that they had friends who might inquire on behalf of Lu Changxing. Indeed, this is the benefit of having a skill, you won't starve anywhere. If the skill is notable and reaches second rank, you can make a living anywhere. After chatting with these people for a while, Lu Changxing thought to himself. Between the previous visits from the Li family and the current enthusiastic networking, he deeply realized the benefits that come with having a perfected skill. Master Yi, thank you very much. Li Xingrua, who was beside him, was moved by the scene and thanked Lu Changxing. Chapter 497, Lost a 2 vs 1 battle, can you even play? She knew that Lu Changxing was about to leave and was recruiting an alchemist to preside over his store. Since her parents passed away, no one had ever been so kind to her. It made her feel intensely grateful and moved. Hee, it's a trifle. Lu Changxing chuckled, waving his hand dismissively. At that moment, the alchemy assessment began. The assessment was straightforward. It involved concocting a furnace of second-rank elixir medicines. Lu Changxing concocted a furnace of middle-grade true essence elixirs and easily passed the assessment. Afterward, he registered his identity information with Treasure Elixir Pavilion, completing the process. When verifying his identity information, his disguise provided by the Misty Sky Bead went undetected. This made Lu Changxing silently note that with the Misty Sky Bead, he could not continue conducting assessments on behalf of others. Xingrua, I will be leaving Jianghu Immortal City in a couple of days. So I won't be going back to Treasure Elixir Pavilion now, please convey my farewell to Xingyu later. After leaving 100 Arts Hall, Lu Changxing directly said this to Li Xingrua. Parting was the most poignant. Lu Changxing was already not a person given to melancholy feelings. But it was obvious that both Li Xingrua and Li Xingyu were. Since the matter with Treasure Elixir Pavilion was resolved, he planned to leave it at that and not go back. Senior Yi. Hearing this, Li Xingruo's heart instantly filled with discomfort. During the months they had spent together, she had felt a sense of long-lost paternal love and care from Lu Changxing. Now, hearing about Lu Changxing's impending departure, she felt extremely reluctant to part. However, Lu Changxing had mentioned long ago that he would leave Jianghu Immortal City. Had it not been for the matters concerning her family's Treasure Elixir Pavilion, he might have left earlier. She pursed her lips lightly and raised her head to look at Lu Changxing, forcing a cheerful smile as she said, Xingrua wishes Senior Yi a smooth journey and may all be well with you. We'll meet again someday. Lu Changxing looked at her eyes, which were slightly reddened, and sighed softly. Knowing that it was unlikely they would meet again. He thought for a moment and then said, in the future we can correspond through letters. I've heard that the major commercial guilds can relay things to each other. If I need to purchase certain items in the future, I might trouble you, Xingrua. And if you have any doubts about alchemy, you can also write to me. Although it might take a long time for letters to arrive, perhaps by the time I reply, you will have already resolved your doubts. Lu Changxing spoke in a gentle manner. He gave Li Xingrua an address from Red Leaf Valley Market, a shop that sells peace charms. Senior Yi, if you have any needs, feel free to send me a letter anytime. Li Xingrua nodded upon hearing this. The steadfast clarity in her eyes was obscured by the sentimentalism of the moment. All right. Lu Changxing gave a light smile and then strode away. 2 days later. Is there any information on the decisive battle between Xianxia True Monarch, Heavenly Corpse Sect Master and Five Poisons Cult Leader? Lu Changxing arrived at Heaven Knowledge Tower and asked aloud. There is. The intelligence report is divided into 2 grades, Grade A and Grade B, priced at 3,000 and 1,000 spirit stones respectively. The person in black replied. Grade A. Lu Changxing stated directly. He took out 3,000 spirit stones. With this jade slip, you only need to pay 50% of the spirit stones for subsequent related updates. The person in black accepted the spirit stones and handed over a purple jade slip to Lu Changxing. Understood. Lu Changxing took the jade slip and nodded. Immediately, he delved into the jade slip with his divine sense to read the contents. Xianxia True Monarch fought against 2 alone, repelling both the Five Poisons Cult Leader and the Heavenly Corpse Sect Master. When Lu Changxing saw the message, his spirit was lifted, and a great weight fell from his heart. He knew that the battle had likely averted a war between Jiang Country and Jin Kingdom. Xianxia True Monarch Li Duanshuan, a middle-stage nascent soul cultivator, practices the Heavenly Sword Sect's sect-defining cultivation method, the Heavenly Sword True Scripture. In a 2-against-1 situation, not only did he repel the Heavenly Corpse Sect Master and the Five Poisons Cult Leader, but he also nearly slew the Five Poisons Cult Leader. Had it not been for the Five Poisons Cult Leader conceding defeat and the Supreme Elder of the Yiming Ghost Sect intervening with the sect's treasures, the Myriad Ghost's Blood Pool, and Myriad Ghost's Dao Soldier, Li Duanshuan had the chance to slay a nascent soul true monarch. Lu Changxing was looking at the intelligence report within the jade slip. He felt some admiration for this nascent soul true monarch of Jiang Country. No wonder Yun Jianfeng, a golden core true person from the Heavenly Sword Sect, had arrived in Jiuxiao Immortal City to exterminate demon cultivators at such a time. It was because Li Duanshuan was confident of victory in this battle. No need for too many to stand by his side. This battle may have prevented a war between Jiang Country and Jin Kingdom from breaking out, but I suspect there will still be undercurrents and it won't be peaceful. Lu Changxing thought to himself. He felt that things couldn't possibly end so easily. After I return this time, I must accelerate my progress and enhance my strength. Whether it's childbirth or the children's growth, I need to pay close attention to both aspects. Otherwise, if a war between countries erupts and my strength isn't sufficient, I won't be able to protect my wives and children. This turn of events instilled an involuntary sense of urgency in Lu Changxing. Back in the Qi refinement realm, he had a sense of urgency too. He was eager to reach Foundation establishment so that he could have the power to protect himself and settle in the cultivation world. That's why he had been recklessly having children, hoping to improve his strength through his children and the system lottery. But after establishing his foundation, he had unavoidably relaxed quite a bit. Having the power to protect himself, he felt that there was no rush in everything. After all, he had enough lifespan, not lacking time, aiming for success in the long run. But this demon path event served as a wake-up call for him. Besides considering his immediate surroundings, he needed to take the bigger picture into account. If the Jiang Country cultivation realm remained stable, his current strength would be sufficient in the Qingyun region. As long as he didn't act recklessly, he would generally be safe. Chapter 498. Lost a 2 versus 1 battle, can you even play? But when a stable environment is disrupted, and matters escalate to a confrontation between nations, mere foundation establishment is insignificant. Even without escalating to war between nations. Just the Qingyun sect's call to arms for the major families to campaign against the Xiahou clan. In the process, many foundation establishment ancestors fell. If it were a war between nations, one can only imagine. Take for instance the Demon Path incident at the Jiuxiao Immortal City. Before the war even began, 3 nascent soul immortals had perished. The path of cultivation is long and arduous. Lu Changxing stepped out of Heaven Knowledge Tower, exhaling deeply. He felt that if the Jiang Country cultivation realm were to fall into chaos, he would inevitably be swept up in the overwhelming current of fate. This time, Qingyun sect's mobilization of the major families to campaign against the Xiahou family results in numerous deaths among Foundation establishment ancestors. Upon my return, revealing my foundation establishment Cultivation could present an opportunity to acquire a spiritual land. Lu Changxing paused, a sudden thought occurring to him. Previously, his plan involved using Xiaoxia's connections to participate in the 100 Arts Conference and enter Qingyun sect, thus securing a spiritual vein-blessed land. But now, in the war where Qingyun sect campaigned against the Xiahou clan, many foundation establishment ancestors from various families perished. If some of these families were like Qingzhou Mountain with only one foundation establishment ancestor holding the fort, they might be facing a familial crisis. They had no choice but to perform a desperate act like cutting off an arm to save the body, by giving up their spiritual land. Otherwise they would only attract disaster unnecessarily. And he could take advantage of this situation to choose a suitable spirit vein for himself. After all, with Ling Zixiao the array master at his side, the only thing his family lacked now was a spiritual land. If he continued to rely on the approach through Xiaoxia, it would probably take several more years. It's time to return. Lu Changxing let out a sigh and put away the intelligence jade slip. He was ready to call on Ling Zixiao and depart straight for Qingzhou Mountain. He arrived at the rented courtyard. Ichim? Where is she? Lu Changxing, finding Ling Zixiao was not in the courtyard, was somewhat surprised. 2 days ago, Ling Zixiao's formation shop had been sold. In a place like Jiuxiao Immortal City, saying that a shop was hard to come by was no exaggeration. Therefore, the transfer and sale of the shop attracted countless families and powers vying to buy it. And Ling Zixiao's rationale for selling the shop was straightforward. She didn't have much time left and was no longer struggling against it. Planning to use her remaining time to travel and see if she could find an opportunity. Not many would doubt such a story. Because for these 3 years, due to being an array master with the dragon roar physique, Ling Zixiao held no small fame in Jiuxiao Immortal City. Many knew that this array master's life was nearing its end. He took out a sensing talisman to check Ling Zixiao's whereabouts. Treasure Elixir Pavilion? Lu Changxing, through the yin-yang sensing talisman, sensed Ling Zixiao was in the Treasure Elixir Pavilion. This left him somewhat astonished. Why would Ling Zixiao be in the Treasure Elixir Pavilion? He thought for a moment and headed towards the Treasure Elixir Pavilion. However, before he could get there, Ling Zixiao, dressed in a blue gown with a graceful demeanor and elegant temperament, had already come over. He sensed Ling Zixiao's situation through the yin-yang sensing talisman. Similarly, Ling Zixiao's yin-yang sensing talisman could sense his location. Lu Lang, do you intend to leave now? Ling Zixiao looked towards Lu Changxing and asked. Previously, Lu Changxing had told her that as soon as the information about Li Duangshuan's decisive battle was out from Heaven Knowledge Tower, he was ready to leave Jiuxiao Immortal City. Yes, do you need to prepare anything else? Lu Changxing nodded. This servant is already prepared and can leave at any time. Ling Zixiao said with a slight smile. Alright then, let's set off. Lu Changxing nodded. Immediately after, the two of them left Jiuxiao Immortal City, commanding the spirit boat as they flew towards Qingzhou Mountain. Chapter 499, 99 Windfire Thunder Talisman Array. _1, Zixiao, did you have any business at the Treasure Elixir Pavilion earlier? Aboard the spirit boat, Lu Changxing asked Ling Zixiao. I saw that Lord Husband had quite a fateful encounter with the two young ladies. Considering that we are now departing, and the sisters will be left alone and helpless in Immortal City, it's quite pitiable, so I introduced them to a few good friends to get acquainted. That way they can seek help if anything arises in the future. Ling Zixiao spoke with an elegant demeanor, her voice gentle and warm. With a light smile and a trace of teasing, she said, I noticed that the two young ladies seemed quite reluctant to part with Lu Lang, probably harboring quite a bit of affection. If Lu Lang is willing, a simple invitation may be all it takes for them to wish to depart with you. Ling Zixiao's lips curled with a hint of teasing. It was but a passing acquaintance, and their attachment to the Treasure Elixir Pavilion is quite evident. So why make them leave Jiuxiao Immortal City and accompany me to such an insignificant place? Lu Changxing shook his head and said softly. Just as Ling Zixiao had said, if he were to invite Li Xingrua and her sister to come with him, they would certainly give it serious thought. But after considering, he chose not to do so. For one thing, extending an invitation didn't necessarily guarantee acceptance. After all, his relationship with the sisters hadn't reached such a deep level yet. And the sisters obviously had deep feelings for the Treasure Elixir Pavilion, which wouldn't be easy to cut off. Otherwise, they could have simply sold or transferred the shop during their difficult times and chosen to leave. With Li Xingruo's talent in alchemy, relying on the wealth left by her parents, she would obviously fare better without sticking to the treasure elixir pavilion. On the other hand, he also had to consider on what grounds he would invite them back with him. If the two agreed, how would he settle them? As concubines? As alchemy service workers? As guest elders? Thus, Lu Changxing thought it over and decided against it. After all, his fundamental principle was that if he brought someone home with him, he should fulfill a certain duty and responsibility. He currently had a lot to attend to. For the time being, he didn't want to allocate too much of his time and energy to this matter. Upon hearing this, Ling Zixiao merely smiled faintly and said no more. She looked at the surrounding scenery nonchalantly and asked, "Where in Qingyun region does Lu Lang reside?" "Qingzhou Mountain. According to the distance of our journey, it will probably take 4 or 5 months to arrive," Lu Changxing said aloud. On his way back, he certainly couldn't rush the entire journey. He would need to stop and rest along the way and alleviate the dragon roar of yang energy from Ling Zixiao. "Qingzhou Mountain," Ling Zixiao repeated, nodding thoughtfully as she heard this. She had previously purchased information about Lu Changxing from Heaven Knowledge Tower. She knew that Lu Changxing came from the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain. However, the situation she had come to understand through interacting with Lu Changxing did not match what Heaven Knowledge Tower had on record about him. "I've had some fortunate encounters, so I tend to hide my abilities in Qingzhou Mountain. On this trip back, I will need you, Zixiao, to keep some of my affairs a secret." Lu Changxing spoke, not hiding any information and sharing some details about himself. In front of Ling Zixiao, he had revealed his second-tier top-level alchemy skills. Although he was prepared to show his alchemy skills upon returning to Qingzhou Mountain, he couldn't possibly reveal everything at once. It required a systematic and gradual process. "Please rest assured, Lord Husband," Ling Zixiao responded after hearing this, her face showcasing an elegant, gentle smile. She knew the information from Heaven Knowledge Tower was not incorrect. It was just that Lu Changxing had been concealing his skills deeply. This made her inwardly marvel at the extent of his concealment. According to the information from Heaven Knowledge Tower, Lu Changxing was not yet 40. At that age, not only had he broken through to foundation establishment, he had also elevated both alchemy and talisman making to the second rank. This was astonishing. She, with her innate talent for the formation path and under the tutelage of a master, was able to reach her current level. Yet, according to the information from Heaven Knowledge Tower, Lu Changxing had been rejected during an immortal sex assessment at Qingyun sect and had become a son-in-law taken into the Lu family. This indicated that Lu Changxing's spiritual root talent must be rather ordinary. And as a son-in-law taken into the Lu family, even if he was exceptionally talented in the talisman path and alchemy, without a prominent teacher's guidance, it would be very difficult to achieve such accomplishments. Besides, managing to succeed in talisman crafting, alchemy, and cultivation simultaneously was extraordinary. Without contemplating too deeply on this matter, she continued to chat leisurely with Lu Changxing. Talking about her own experiences and past helped foster an emotional bond between them. After they had been casually talking for a long time, Lu Changxing's brows suddenly furrowed. "Lu Lang, what's wrong?" Ling Zixiao asked, noticing the change in his expression. "It seems that we have been targeted since leaving Immortal City," said Lu Changxing, his brows relaxing into a wry smile. Thanks to the Purple Mansion elixir, his divine sense had already progressed to the late foundation establishment stage. Just now, he had sensed a breath of aura moving swiftly in their direction, yet maintaining a certain distance from his spirit boat. Having experienced several robber cultivator incidents in the past, Lu Changxing immediately surmised that the person was probably targeting him and Ling Zixiao. Thinking of attacking once they were a certain distance away from Immortal City. Targeted? Ling Zixiao briefly paused, surprised at his remark. Although her physical condition was extremely weak due to the dragon roar physique, and she had only 1/10 of her mana, her divine sense was unimpaired. Moreover, having cultivated a divine consciousness technique and taken special elixirs for this aspect, her divine sense was much stronger than her peers, comparable to that of someone at the middle stage of foundation establishment. Yet she hadn't noticed any pursuit. However, since Lu Changxing had mentioned it, she naturally didn't doubt him. After all, having sold her shop and leaving Jiuxiao Immortal City, it made sense if someone was covertly watching her, perhaps intending to kill for loot. Chapter 500. The 99 Windfire Thunder Talisman Array. Right away, Ling Zixiao pulled out a set of formation tools from her storage bag and said, Lu Lang, the celestial canopy formation can conceal one's shape and isolate the breath, so that even a foundation establishment cultivator would find it difficult to detect. You should increase the distance now, find a place to land, and we can use formations to hide. Ling Zixiao quickly instructed. As an array master, she naturally had her means. She had prepared several sets of formation tools for self-defense. All right. Upon hearing this, Lu Changxing nodded. He controlled the nucleus of the spirit boat, increasing its speed to the fastest, leaving a trail of light across the sky. With more than 300 second-rank spirit talismans, he had no fear of this kind of ambush. But he was currently accompanied by Ling Zixiao. Although Ling Zixiao was a foundation establishment cultivator, due to her physical weakness, she was even less capable than an average Qi refinement peak cultivator. So, his plan was to let Ling Zixiao use formations to hide and protect herself. As for himself, since these people dared to pursue them, he naturally wouldn't be polite. This trip to Jianghu Immortal City had cost him quite a lot of spirit stones. After returning to Jianghu Mountain, purchasing spirit land would be no small expenditure either. Now that people were offering their wealth on a silver platter, he naturally would not hold back. It wasn't long before the spirit boat landed on a mountain peak. Zixiao, after you set up the formation, set up a defensive array for yourself as well, said Lu Changxing as he put away the spirit boat. Lu Lang, are you planning to? Hearing such words and seeing the calm and indifferent expression on Lu Changxing's face, Ling Zixiao immediately sensed his intention and asked. Yes, since they want to play the role of robber cultivators, they must be prepared to pay the price, replied Lu Changxing with a light laugh and an indifferent expression. Ling Zixiao confirmed it, feeling surprised in her heart. She had been in Jianghu Immortal City for so long and experienced many things. She knew very well that those who dared to act as robber cultivators were often not simple in strength, especially those who lurked in the shadows and continuously pursued their quarry. They generally had great confidence. After all, robber cultivators sought wealth through their actions, and if they weren't certain, they wouldn't take the risk. But the fact that Lu Changxing dared to confront them head-on upon realizing that robber cultivators were tracking them in secret, intending to eliminate them, was simply astonishing. Although she didn't know the specifics of Lu Changxing's strength, she assumed he was at most in the middle stage of foundation establishment. One reason was his age, and the other was that Lu Changxing had revealed the cultivation level of the foundation establishment middle stage in front of her. But considering that Lu Changxing was aware of being tracked and dared to act this way, Ling Zixiao did not try to dissuade him further. She nodded and said, Since you are confident, Lu Lang, I will first set up a small inverted 5 elements formation to ensure my safety. Later, I will also deploy a small Azura killing formation. You can lead them into the array when the time comes, Ling Zixiao added quickly. In the meantime, a set of formation tools appeared. She moved her hands in a magical gesture, raising a number of array flags into the air and letting them fly out. Then she took out several spirit stones and activated the array plate, setting up the formation not too far away. Zixiao, be careful not to hurt yourself. I'm confident and don't need to do this, Lu Changxing said. He could see that Ling Zixiao wanted to contribute to prevent him from losing, but in his opinion, unless the robber cultivators pursuing them were nascent soul immortals, he was almost certain of victory without the need for formations. However, if they were nascent soul immortals, they wouldn't be detected by him at all. Therefore, these robber cultivators were at most at the foundation establishment level. My lord, I understand, replied Ling Zixiao with a faint smile on her somewhat pale face upon hearing Lu Changxing's words. Her hands continued to move in the magical gesture, quickly setting up a simplified version of the inverted 5 elements formation. The layout of a formation can be simplified based on the number of flagpoles, reducing the area it covers. With limited time, Ling Zixiao simply used the formation to protect herself, so it was rather basic, covering only a 9-yard radius. After setting up the inverted 5 elements formation, Ling Zixiao entered the area of the formation. She manipulated the array plate, causing herself and the formation to disappear from Lu Changxing's sight. So this is the simplified inverted 5 elements formation? It is indeed extraordinary, Lu Changxing murmured as he watched Ling Zixiao vanish. Had he not watched Ling Zixiao disappear in front of him, and his divine sense been as sharp as that of a late-stage foundation establishment cultivator, he might have struggled to detect Ling Zixiao's presence. Moreover, the inverted 5 elements formation also had a confusing effect. Even if he detected Ling Zixiao's breath, it might not necessarily indicate her actual position. When I establish my family, I will use a complete version of the inverted 5 elements formation for the interior and a different set of formations for the exterior, Lu Changxing thought to himself. Shortly after, he saw movement within the formation. A number of small flags flew out, landing at some distance away. He knew Ling Zixiao was setting up another killing array. Zixiao, they are about to arrive, Lu Changxing said as he sensed the presence of someone approaching from afar. That's just perfect, Ling Zixiao replied immediately through sound transmission. She moved the array plate to solidify the small Azura killing formation in the distance. Due to the limited time, this small Azura killing formation only covered a 9-yard radius, effectively serving as a small-scale trap. Lu Lang, be careful. If you can't overcome them, draw the enemy into the killing array. My inverted 5 elements formation can also share some of the pressure, Ling Zixiao communicated through sound transmission. Don't worry, Lu Changxing assured, looking up slightly at the distant sky. Before long, a small flying boat appeared from afar. 5. Lu Changxing raised his eyebrows when he saw 5 figures standing on the flying boat. He had previously sensed only 4 presences and thought there were only 4 people. Seeing the number of people on the flying boat, he realized one had concealed their presence, eluding his detection. Chapter 501. The 99 Windfire Thunder Talisman Array. 3 at the Foundation Establishment early stage, 1 at the middle stage and 1 at the late stage? Lu Changxing's divine sense examined the cultivation levels of the 5 people. Except for one of them whose cultivation aura was hidden, making it impossible for him to determine. For the other 4 he discerned their cultivation strength at a glance. 5 Foundation Establishment Robber Cultivators? Ling Zixiao, within the inverted 5 elements formation, was startled when she saw the spirit boat appear in the firmament with figures aboard. She didn't dare to use her divine sense to investigate these people. But without thinking, she knew that those daring to be robber cultivators and pursuing her and Lu Changxing must certainly be at the Foundation Establishment cultivation level. Could it be that fellow Taoists are looking for Yi? Lu Changxing, draped in a blue robe with his hands clasped behind his back, spoke calmly to the firmament. Fellow Taoist, greetings. Our group is here to find Master Ling for some business matters to discuss with her. May I ask where Master Ling is? The luminescence of the spirit boat flashed, crossing a large distance to hang above the mountaintop. The one leading them, whose cultivation strength Lu Changxing couldn't discern, was a middle-aged man with a purple face exuding a natural aura of authority. He looked towards Lu Changxing, then his divine sense searched in all directions, trying to locate Ling Zixiao. Through tracking methods, he could vaguely sense that Ling Zixiao's aura was in this vicinity. Oh, there are matters to discuss with Master Ling. Lu Changxing raised an eyebrow upon hearing this. He suspected that they might have harbored ill intentions towards Ling Zixiao due to her selling her shop and leaving Jiuxiao Immortal City. Although Ling Zixiao typically spent most of what she had on preserving her own life, as an array master, the wealth she had accumulated was still a huge sum for an average Foundation Establishment cultivator. Moreover, she had sold all her possessions like shops and courtyards. Master Ling had some matters to attend to and has parted ways with me. Whatever business fellow Taoists have, you can tell me, Lu Changxing spoke with equanimity. However, before he could finish speaking, he waved his hands. From within his sleeves, hundreds of talismans streamed out, arranging themselves in mid-air, and swiftly surrounded the 5 people on the spirit boat. Under normal circumstances, he would not need to resort to a talisman formation. But since there were not only 5 of them but also a likely Foundation Establishment late-stage cultivator among them, Lu Changxing did not hold back, thinking to use the talisman formation for a quick resolution. So many talismans, be careful. Is this a talisman formation? Who exactly are you? Fellow Taoist, there's a misunderstanding. We really did come to find Master Ling for business. Seeing this display of talismans, they were all shocked and shouted. They could clearly feel that among these hundreds of talismans, there were dozens exuding the aura of second rank. Without a word, dozens of second-rank spirit talismans and hundreds of first-rank spirit talismans were summoned. This was not something they could withstand with mere wealth. Moreover, the talismans arranged by Lu Changxing seemed like a legendary talisman formation. Thus, faced with such a formation, they instantly abandoned any thoughts of robbery. The 99 Windfire Thunder Talisman Array. Lu Changxing paid no heed to the words of the 5, his mind moved. 1 second-rank Supreme Talisman, 9 second-rank Superior Grade Talismans, 18 second-rank middle-grade talismans, and 36 second-rank low-grade talismans. Plus 108 first-rank middle, superior, and supreme-grade talismans were activated all together. These talismans, connected by their aura, aided by the 5 elements of wind and fire, and accompanied by rolling thunder, arranged in all directions, obscuring a part of the sky, enshrouding the 5 people on the spirit boat. Break for me. Upon the spirit boat, a middle-aged man in his 30s or 40s with a gaunt face immediately took out a pair of spiritual artifact scissors, attempting to break through the heavy encirclement of the talisman formation before it could fully activate its power. However, the moment the talisman formation was complete, fierce winds blew, fiery flames surged, thunder rumbled mightily, and directly the spiritual artifact scissors let out a mournful cry. Kill? Lu Changxing formed seals with his hands, directly driving the great formation, causing the spiritual mechanisms of these talismans to surge and begin bombarding. Not good, second brother, third brother, fifth brother. The leading purple-faced man also recognized the might of this talisman formation. Making hand seals, spiritual light swelled around him, forming a layer of mana shield, while also summoning a thick black column. The black column flickered with a dim light, connected to the spirit boat, forming a vigorous shield of aura. Upon hearing his voice, the other 3 people on the spirit boat also took action, each summoning their magic artifacts. But under the assault of the wind-fire-thunder talisman array, the purple-faced man's shield of aura cracked in an instant, threatening to shatter. The purple-faced man hurriedly shouted, "Fellow Taoist has misunderstood, I am here to find Master Ling for a true matter of business." Ha. Lu Changxing's lips curled upwards, letting out a cold laugh. Ling Zixia was not far away. If he knew these people, he would have already sent a message to himself. This person obviously thought that Ling Zixia was not here and wanted to use such words to confuse him. He had a clear understanding in his heart, and with his hands forming seals, he exerted himself to the fullest to operate the Wind-Fire-Thunder Talisman array. Using the first-grade talisman's wind and fire to boost the power, he unleashed the extreme potency of the second-rank talisman's thunder and fire. Boom boom boom. The true might of the talisman array began to erupt, with thunderous flames surging violently, bombarding fiercely, and in a flash the shield of aura around the black column was shattered. However, the other 4 people had already summoned a red parasol and a small blue flag, forming protective barriers layer by layer to block the torrential assault of the talisman array. Yet, faced with such an attack from the talisman array, they struggled to defend. Scoundrel, this is too much. The purple-faced man's expression turned to rage, and he ground his teeth, pulling out a talisman from his storage bag. This talisman was more substantial and slightly larger than a regular one. In the next moment, a lifelike bronze spear surged on the talisman, emitting a terrifying aura that made Foundation establishment cultivators shudder in fear. A talisman treasure? Lu Changxing immediately recognized upon seeing the talisman, that it was indeed a talisman treasure. It was only befitting for a cultivator at the peak of the Foundation establishment stage to actually possess such a talisman treasure for protection. Moreover, the treasure seemed to be of a superior grade, not any worse than the golden light brick talisman treasure he had initially. The adversary, with his late-stage Foundation establishment cultivation fully activating the talisman treasure, was about to unleash its astonishing power. Boom! In an instant, the talisman treasure was activated, transforming into a bronze spear that tore through a corner of the Wind-Fire-Thunder talisman array, aiming to strike at Lu Changxing. He knew that if he allowed the talisman array to continue bombarding them, the 5 of them could only sit and wait for death. He must suppress Lu Changxing with the swiftness of thunder. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. From the sleeves of Lu Changxing, dozens of talismans flew out immediately. Several of them transformed into golden and blue shields of aura, enveloping him for protection. The rest, neatly arranged, flew into the Wind-Fire-Thunder talisman array, repairing the gaps and allowing the formidable power to continue its tumultuous assault. At the same time, a blue talisman appeared in Lu Changxing's hand. It was a talisman treasure he had once acquired from Meng Yibai. Though this talisman treasure was lower grade and had average power, it could be used for offense, defense and capturing enemies, making it quite effective. The next moment, the blue talisman treasure was activated by his mana. Chapter 502, Ling Zixia's Shock Bountiful Gains. Underscore 1 Boom boom boom, A mushroom cloud-like tempest of thunder and lightning continuously exploded, its might echoing through heaven and earth, forming ripples that swept in all directions. In an instant, the temperature of the sky drastically increased, filled with a scorching and fierce magic aura. The entire mountaintop also shook under this terrifying force, fissures appearing everywhere, scaring the flying birds and running beasts into a state of trembling fear. Not far away, the inverted five elements formation became visible under the residual wave of the attack. It transformed into a barrier of five elements luminance, blocking the successive waves of residual force. Within the formation, Xianxia, with her elegant appearance, gazed at the shocking scene before her, lips slightly parted, eyes filled with shock and disbelief. She knew that since Lu Changxing dared to face a robber cultivator, he must have had some confidence. But she had never imagined that Lu Changxing's combat power would be so terrifying. He had conjured up hundreds of talismans to form a talisman formation and, with the ferocity of thunder, had suppressed and killed 5 robber cultivators. In the process, the robber cultivators tried to break the formation and kill Lu Changxing with their talisman treasures. But they were easily neutralized by Lu Changxing with his talismans and talisman treasures. This level of combat power, these methods were simply astonishing. Especially Lu Changxing's technique of creating formations with talismans left Xianxia at a loss for words. She also had some understanding of talisman formations and standing formations with talismans. She knew that this kind of technique was from a rare inheritance and that the threshold for cultivation was extremely high. One had to be versed in both the talisman path and the formation path. Lu Changxing had just conjured up hundreds of talismans, instantly forming a formation, clearly mastering this talisman formation to perfection and proficient in the formation path. Second-ranked top-quality alchemy. Second-ranked top-quality talisman making. And now, another skill in talisman formations and formation path. How can one person simultaneously master alchemy, talisman making, and formation path? Xianxia stared at the tall and slender figure of Lu Changxing in a green robe, lost in thought. Alchemy, talisman making, and formation path all required immense amounts of time and energy. Countless cultivators spend their entire lives without achieving anything significant. Yet Lu Changxing had accomplishments in all 3 areas at his age, an extraordinary feat indeed. She had spent many years in Jianghu Immortal City and had never seen such a monstrous and abnormal person. No, she had not even heard of one. Through the days they had spent together, she thought she had gained some understanding of Lu Changxing. But at this moment, Lu Changxing's image in her mind became mysterious once more. It seems the power of this talisman formation is even greater than I had imagined. Once I gain the initiative and set up the talisman formation, not to mention those at the late stage of foundation establishment, even a false core immortal would perish within it. Still, trying to trap a false core immortal with this talisman formation might be a little tricky. However, once I refine the 99 profound truth strategy into a talisman artifact, with its help in setting up formations and sealing heaven and earth, even a false core immortal won't be able to break the talisman formation easily and will only perish amidst the relentless bombardment of the talismans. On the cliff, Lu Changxing looked at the talisman formation in the sky, whose power was gradually dissipating, and saw that the 5 robber cultivators within had their life force extinguished, revealing a look of satisfaction in his eyes. This was his first time using a talisman formation. As for the power and effectiveness of the talisman formation, he was quite satisfied. The only issue was that it was incredibly expensive. He had only taken simple action. He had used over 80 second-ranked talismans and more than 100 first-grade talismans. If these talismans were to be converted into spirit stones according to the market price, they would amount to approximately 40 to 50,000 spirit stones. An exaggerated sum indeed. Hope it nets me some profit. Lu Changxing exhaled lightly. With a gesture of his magic hand, he took the 2 talisman treasures in front of him, the spirit boat that had been battered and become scrap within the talisman formation, along with 5 charred and broken corpses, magic artifacts, spiritual artifacts and storage bags, all into his possession. He then looked towards Xianxia not far away and called out, "Xixiao, are you all right?" While speaking, he swept his sleeve to subdue the remaining waves of the talisman formation. Lu Lang am fine." Xixiao came back to her senses, watching Lu Changxing's peerlessly handsome face, and gently shook her head. She couldn't fathom how there could be such a wondrous man in the world. With dazzling good looks that captivated the heart at a glance, and in other aspects, he was excellent beyond comprehension. "Xixiao, as you know, I am also a talisman master, and I understand a little about making talismans. so I usually prepare some talismans to carry with me in case of any dangerous accidents. Lu Changxing saw the usually composed and graceful Ling Zixiao looking so astonished and smiled. He had used the talisman formation to make a quick decision. On one hand, among the five, the leader was at the late stage of foundation establishment. If he didn't use the talisman formation, facing all five at once would have been difficult to secure a complete kill. On the other hand, he also wanted to show off a bit in front of Ling Zixiao. It wasn't to show off Paresi. It was simply to tell Ling Zixiao through this action that he wasn't as simple as she had seen, that he was much more powerful than she imagined. By following him, aside from treating and resolving the dragon roar physique, there would be other benefits as well. My lady understands, of course, though I didn't expect that you, my lord, would have such divine abilities. I was worried for a moment. Ling Zixiao's expression returned to being dignified and elegant, and she spoke with a light smile. I gained this talisman formation inheritance by chance. With your high perception and proficiency in the art of formations, Zixiao, you might also be able to comprehend it. If you're interested, I can teach you afterward, Lu Changxing said with a light laugh. He didn't mind passing on his cultivation techniques to those around him. Ling Zixiao was now his Dao companion and they were in a partnership. If her strength increased, it would also be beneficial to him. Chapter 503, Ling Zixiao's Shock Bountiful Gains. Moreover, the talisman formation involves the art of formations. Although this type of formation is different from ordinary ones, there might still be benefits for Ling Zixiao, possibly inspiring new insights. Upon hearing this, Ling Zixiao's heart jolted. She had not anticipated that Lu Changxing would casually offer to teach her such a rare mystical inheritance. One must realize that, in the cultivation world, the transmission of cultivation techniques and skills is exceedingly precious. They are fundamental for the survival of an individual or a power. Apart from those who are extremely close, it is rare for anyone to pass on their cultivation techniques and skills to another. Yet Lu Changxing was now offering so readily, which touched her deeply. Her lips parted slightly, her eyes moist with emotion. She smiled and said with a curtsy, "Your concubine is most grateful to you, Lu Lang. If we are to be Dao companions, we should naturally support each other and cultivate the great Dao together." Lu Changxing immediately steadied Ling Zixiao, his expression earnest as he spoke. "The path to immortality is cold and solitary, the great Dao hard to seek. With you by my side, I am fortunate." Ling Zixiao responded with a smile. "Zixiao, pack up the formations and let's continue on our way," Lu Changxing said with a smile, squeezing Ling Zixiao's hand gently, speaking in a warm tone. "All right, husband, just a moment." Ling Zixiao nodded, formed a gesture with her hands, and successively withdrew the inverted five elements formation and the minor Azura slaughter formation. "Let's go." Seeing Ling Zixiao tidy up the formations, Lu Changxing released the spirit boat, and along with Ling Zixiao, they continued on their journey. During the journey, it crossed his mind that the five robber cultivators probably targeted Ling Zixiao, so he used his divine sense to inspect her. However, he did not find any traces of divine sense marking. Immediately afterward, he took out a second-ranked top-grade purification talisman and used it on Ling Zixiao. But even when the purification talisman was applied to Ling Zixiao's body, it did not reveal any tracking marks. Strange? Could it be they were using some kind of secret technique to track her? Lu Changxing's brow lifted as he pondered inwardly. He was puzzled as to how these five robber cultivators had managed to locate and track Ling Zixiao. Lu Lang. Seeing Lu Changxing conducting these inspections and finding no clues on how she was tracked, Ling Zixiao immediately started to examine her own storage bag. She checked to see if any item or perhaps a spirit stone had been secretly marked by someone. It might have been some secret technique, and now that they are dead, naturally there's nothing to worry about. Lu Changxing spoke out. He had some understanding of these tracking methods, knowing that aside from divine sense marking, there were many other secret techniques to track people. It was plausible for those five individuals, being Foundation establishment cultivators, to know such techniques. Shortly after, he took out the spoils of war gathered from the five people. He passed 3 storage magic artifacts to Ling Zixiao, asking her to help clear them out. Lu Changxing first took the bronze spear charm held by the man with the purple face into his hands to inspect. It was apparent that this charm had dulled, likely having been used a few times already. He estimated that after one more full-force usage, it would be completely exhausted. Zixiao, this charm is quite powerful. You can keep it for self-defense. Lu Changxing handed the bronze spear charm to Ling Zixiao. He currently had sufficient means of attack. The charm was of little significance to him. Thank you, Lu Lang, but I have a defense charm. I don't need this one. Ling Zixiao was touched to see Lu Changxing casually offering this valuable charm to her. Alright. If you see anything you can use in the storage bag, just take it without hesitation. Lu Changxing did not insist upon hearing this and returned the charm to his storage bag, planning to give it to Lu Miaoge when he returned. The blue jade ruler was a charm taken from Meng Yibai, which could bring trouble, so it wasn't something he wanted to give away. However, the bronze spear charm was of no concern. Okay. Ling Zixiao nodded with a smile, graceful and dignified. What's this, a treasure-seeking mouse? Lu Changxing began to go through the spoils of war, his divine sense noticing a spiritual pet bag, causing his brow to lift. He had an idea of how the 5 robber cultivators had managed to track down Ling Zixiao. Inside this spiritual pet bag was a large golden mouse. It somewhat resembled the earth spirit mouse he had acquired from Meng Yibai. Back then, Meng Yibai had used the earth spirit mouse to track him down. He hadn't expected to come across another treasure-seeking mouse today. This is not an earth-grade bloodline earth spirit mouse. It must be a high-rank bloodline-seeking spirit mouse. Lu Changxing examined the golden treasure-seeking mouse in the spiritual pet bag. Because of the earth spirit mouse, he had taken the time to learn about a few differences between various treasure-seeking mice. He could roughly identify them. However, this seeking spirit mouse was quite large, almost the size of a newborn baby, a second-rank demon beast. Lu Changxing found this most pleasing. Not counting the Mount Sumeru Tree King, he had yet to acquire a second-rank spiritual pet. Zixiao, this group of robber cultivators probably tracked you with this thing. Lu Changxing found the beast control token for the treasure-seeking mouse, then released it from the spiritual pet bag. Is this a treasure-seeking mouse? Chapter 504. Ling Zixiao's Shock, Bountiful Gains. It's often said that you can know someone's face but not their heart. Who knows, this person could very well be that purple-robed hermit. Lu Changxing casually remarked upon hearing this. It wasn't that he harbored ill intentions. Having been in the cultivation world for so long, he had become all too familiar with such matters. After all, no robber cultivator would go around looking like a fierce and malevolent spirit all the time. It's possible they even cultivate a good reputation and goodwill to facilitate their clandestine robber cultivator activities. It's very possible because although this purple-robed hermit is seldom known for betraying his companions, his frequent exploration of secret realms has still led to many cultivators facing dangers. Yet, every time he manages to return from the brink of disaster, even making modest gains that others envy, Ling Zixiao added with a slight smile. The two chatted idly while sorting through the storage bags. After a while, they had accounted for the belongings of the 5 robber cultivators, including their storage bags and magic artifacts. Among them were 219 middle-grade spirit stones, and 48,375 lower-grade spirit stones. 1 top-tier spiritual artifact, 2 high-tier spiritual artifacts, 2 middle-grade spiritual artifacts, 5 low-tier spiritual artifacts, and 7 top-tier magic artifacts. However, half of these spiritual and magic artifacts had sustained severe damage. The most precious top-tier spiritual artifact was also somewhat damaged, which meant its value would be greatly reduced if sold. Aside from that, there were over 20 bottles of second-rank spirit pills, 16 second-rank spirit talismans, and dozens of other second-rank spiritual medicines, spiritual woods or stones and other treasures, as well as 3 cultivation techniques. Purple True Solar Scripture. Looks like this chap is indeed the purple-robed true immortal, Ling Zixiao declared, spotting the exquisite level cultivation method among the 3 techniques. She guessed that the purple-faced man leading the robber cultivators was most likely the purple-robed hermit. However, if this man is really a robber cultivator to have amassed only this much wealth after lurking in Jiuxiao Immortal City for so many years, he's quite poor. Lu Changxing clicked his tongue and said. It's actually not a small amount. These spirit stones, spiritual artifacts and spiritual materials, plus the talisman treasures and the seeking spirit mouse, it all adds up to almost 170,000 to 180,000 spirit stones, Ling Zixiao replied, unsure whether to comment on Lu Changxing's wealth or to say something else. After all, for most foundation establishment cultivators, their entire net worth would be around 20 or 30,000 spirit stones. The spoils from these 5 robber cultivators, even after accounting for the damaged spiritual artifacts, amounted to a considerable wealth of 170,000 to 180,000 spirit stones. That's true, Lu Changxing nodded slightly. He felt he had indeed been too lavish with his spending. His idea of consumption had far surpassed that of the Foundation establishment stage. Moreover, he hadn't included the bronze spear and the seeking spirit mouse in his tally of gains earlier. Considering the men had only that many spirit stones, he thought their wealth quite ordinary. After all, he had just spent 40 to 50,000 spirit stones on a talisman formation. With these spirit stones, I should have almost enough money to purchase a spiritual land when I get back, Lu Changxing mused, feeling somewhat relieved. After allowing Ling Zixiao to pick a few items, he carefully sorted the categorized spoils into his own storage bag. 7 days into their journey, as night fell, Lu Changxing spotted a secular city in the distance. He immediately directed the spirit boat towards the city, taking Ling Zixiao with him to rest and refine the dragon roar of yang energy within her body. Meanwhile, at the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain, under the cover of night, Lu Yuanzhong and Lu Yuanding donned black robes and quietly left Qingzhou Mountain without a sound. Only after traveling several dozen miles away from Qingzhou Mountain did they release their spirit boat. They flew rapidly toward Qingyun sect on their spirit boat. Though Qingyun sect had forbidden inter-clan strife during this period, such matters would remain unchecked as long as they were not overly excessive. Therefore, their trip to Qingyun sect to exchange for Foundation establishment elixirs and Foundation establishment spirit objects had to be conducted with utmost caution. This was to avoid internal leaks within the family, which could alert others and lead to attacks on Qingzhou Mountain or interception of the 2 men. Chapter 505, Tai Xing Ownership of the Foundation Establishment Elixir. _1 More than a month later. Amidst the clouds and fog, a spirit boat, like a streak of light, rapidly shuttled through the sky. Lu Changxing, dressed in a cyan robe, stood tall on the spirit boat, looking down at the mountain ranges below that resembled a checkerboard. It must be said, such long-distance travel was extremely monotonous and tedious. If it weren't for Qingyun sect's spiritual vessel that only came once a year, he would be eager to return and would not be willing to steer the spirit boat. He would have chosen to travel by the spiritual vessel instead. "My lord, let me take over the steering of the spirit boat while you rest for a while," said Ling Zixiao, who had been resting with her eyes closed, as she opened her clear and beautiful eyes and looked at Lu Changxing, her voice melodious. Although steering the spirit boat didn't consume much mental spirit or mana, traveling day and night could still be somewhat tiresome and dull. Thus, the 2 of them chatted to relieve boredom and took turns steering the spirit boat along the way. "All right." Lu Changxing nodded, handing over the control of the spirit boat to Ling Zixiao. During this break he would draw some talismans. Facing 5 robber cultivators before, he had used up quite a few of his spirit talismans and needed to replenish them. Just as he took out his talisman brush, talisman paper and spirit ink, ready to start drawing talismans, a current of air suddenly surged into his body, followed by the sound of a system notification. "Congratulations to the host. 15 of your children have completed the induction of qi into their bodies, stepping onto the path of immortality, obtaining the bloodline effect. 5% increased probability of having spiritual roots and offspring, and 1 lottery draw opportunity." 1 lottery draw for every 5, huh? Lu Changxing heard this system notification and the corners of his mouth turned up slightly, revealing a hint of a smile. Seeing his children start their cultivation one by one with the system handing out child money as a reward, truly delighted him. "Lu Lang, what's the matter? Are you thinking of some happy event?" Ling Zixiao noticed the sudden smile on Lu Changxing's face and asked with a light smile. "Hee, the thought of going home naturally fills me with joy, especially since this journey has also led to you, Zixiao, becoming my Dao companion. The very thought makes me uncontrollably happy." Lu Changxing spoke smoothly, hiding his real emotions with a smile. Smooth talker. Upon hearing his words, Ling Zixiao smiled sweetly. After a bit of idle chat, Lu Changxing began to draw talismans. 5 days later, Ling Zixiao steered the spirit boat to a nearby city where they disembarked. The reward has been sent to the system space. The host can check it at any time. An image of a crystal-clear jade scroll appeared, together with the system notification. Tai Xing. Lu Changxing looked at this cultivation technique, his brow slightly furrowed. From its name, this should be a Qi refinement cultivation technique. But at this point he was no longer in need of such techniques. He had no need for this kind of cultivation technique. What he really wanted was a mental cultivation technique. Or something like the rare inheritance cultivation techniques for pills, formations, talismans and tools, such as the 99 mystical talisman scripture. However, since he had already drawn it, Lu Changxing looked towards the system space. Cultivation technique, Tai Xing Shui Ju, grade, orthodox level, description. Tai generates water that benefits all things, complements Tai as it forms heaven. Heaven and earth, yin and yang complement each other, in an endless cycle. This is the mother of all things. This technique is so profound? Lu Changxing stared at the description and introduction of the Tai Xing Shui Ju, momentarily bemused. He couldn't quite grasp the effects of this technique, or the significance of it being an orthodox level cultivation technique. Chapter 506, Tai Xing Shui Ju. Ownership of the Foundation Establishment Elixir. System Inheritance. He didn't ponder too much about it, his mental spirit stirring slightly as he directly used the Tai Xing Shui Ju. Immediately, the method of cultivating the Tai Xing Shui Ju, related content, and all key points surged into his mind like a sudden enlightenment. Hiss, Tai Xing Shui Ju, what a profound Tai Xing Shui Ju. After a long while, Lu Changxing opened his eyes, revealing a look of surprise and joy. After fully comprehending the Tai Xing Shui Ju through the system's inheritance, Lu Changxing felt a surge of delight in his heart. One could only say it was truly worthy of being an orthodox level cultivation technique. Furthermore, this cultivation technique came in a most marvelous way. This Tai Xing Shui Ju is divided into Water of Virtue technique and Tai Seed Way art, one main and one auxiliary, two cultivation techniques. To cultivate the Water of Virtue technique, one first needs a water attribute spiritual root and a temperament as calm as water. Secondly, a foundation establishment cultivator is required to cultivate the Tai Seed Way art. Condense one's spirit, vital energy, and origin source of the Tao foundation to refine a Tai Tao seed. Afterward, plant this Tai Tao seed within oneself, and with the Tai Tao seed as the foundation, commence the cultivation of the Water of Virtue technique. Goodness resembles water, it benefits all things without contention. This cultivation technique is not adept at offensive strikes but leans towards a supportive nature. Its mana is gentle, its chi mighty and profound, vast and thick, stretching endlessly. However, based on the Tai Tao seed condensed by the seed path cultivator, the mana will exhibit different characteristics and effects in terms of power. Simply put, the more powerful the seed path cultivator, the deeper the foundation, the more formidable the condensed Tai Tao seed, the more mighty this Water of Virtue technique will be. However, the flaw is that if the cultivator of the Tai Seed Way art dies, then the Tai Tao seed will shatter. From that point on, the cultivator of the Water of Virtue technique will find it difficult to make progress and will have to start over from scratch. If it were just this, the Tai Xing Shui Ju wouldn't have caused Lu Changxing such surprise. The Tai Seed Way art, by condensing the Tai Tao seed, can aid another in cultivating the Water of Virtue technique. It can enhance their mana foundation and increase the likelihood of breaking through bottlenecks. At the same time, the Water of Virtue technique can also support the person who cultivates the Tai Seed Way art. For example, when a cultivator of the Water of Virtue technique breaks through the foundation establishment, their Tao foundation will take on similar characteristics to the Tai Tao seed. From then on, when both individuals concurrently operate their cultivation techniques in a yin-yang dual cultivation, they can nurture the mother essence of all things. This mother essence can temper both individuals' Tao foundations, increasing the likelihood and quality of core formation. Moreover, when the cultivator of the Tai Seed Way art breaks through core formation, they can reclaim the Tai Tao seed, transforming it into a top-tier core formation spiritual object, enhancing the likelihood and quality of core formation. After the cultivator of the Tai Seed Way art successfully breaks through core formation, they can once again plant a Tao seed for the cultivator of the Water of Virtue technique, letting their foundation improve again, in turn increasing the likelihood and quality of future core formation. When the cultivator of the Water of Virtue technique successfully breaks through core formation, the golden core will continue to be influenced by the Tai Tao seed, taking on similar characteristics, thereby mutually enhancing the golden cores, refining them, and raising the probability of nascent soul consolidation and the quality of the nascent soul. After the nascent soul, so it goes even with divinity transformation. It can be said that this Tai Xing Ju is designed for two people to cultivate together, assisting each other along the way and jointly pursuing the great Tao. Sister Miaoga is just a 5th grade spiritual root. Even though she cultivated the Saturn Solar Sword technique, with my assistance, foundation establishment is not a problem. But to achieve core formation, it is difficult, extremely difficult, filled with countless obstacles. Now with this Tai Xing Ju, if I cultivate the Tai Seed Wei art, and plant a Tai Dao seed for her, allowing her to cultivate the Water of Virtue technique, then there's hope for her to achieve core formation in the future. Upon seeing this cultivation technique, Lu Changxing immediately thought of Lu Miaoga. This cultivation technique, with one main and one auxiliary, complements each other, and is a true yin-yang dual cultivation technique. It can allow the more advanced practitioner to lift the other, thus joining hands in cultivating the great Tao. With the system by his side, he is full of hope for his own future. He is confident that he can achieve core formation, consolidate a nascent soul, and undergo divinity transformation. Currently, his condensed yin-yang 5 elements foundation base is a top-notch perfect foundation base, with an immensely robust foundation. Such a foundation base, when used to refine the Tai Dao seed, will greatly benefit and be extremely advantageous for the cultivator of the Water of Virtue technique. Chapter 507. Tai Xing Ju. Ownership of the Foundation Establishment Elixir. Wanting to return early to pass on the Water of Virtue technique to Lu Miaoga and plant the Dao seed for her. Lu Miaoga's spiritual root just happens to be of the water attribute, and her disposition is also a good match. Moreover, she cultivates the Saturn Solar Sword technique, which is a direct inheritance from his 7 luminaries' Great Freedom Sword scripture. Through the Tai Dao seed, to convert her cultivation technique into the Water of Virtue technique would be nothing short of perfect. Jianghu Mountain Lu family. Miaoga, currently in the family, only you and Miaofeng are at the 9th level energy refinement, capable of attempting foundation establishment. Thus, the right to this foundation establishment elixir belongs to you and Miaofeng. What are your thoughts? Lu Yuanzhong looked at the young lady in front of him, clothed in plain white, with a clear and graceful demeanor, speaking in a deep voice. Lu Yuanding, standing aside, said nothing, quietly watching his daughter. There were originally 4 foundation establishment seeds in this generation of the Lu family. 1 died during the campaign against the Xiahou clan, leaving the remaining 3. However, one of them is too young and is currently at the 8th level energy refinement. Therefore, he cannot compete for the ownership of this foundation establishment elixir. In the end, it's between Lu Miaoga and Lu Miaofeng. Although Lu Miaoga's spiritual root talent is 1 grade lower than Lu Miaofeng, as a 1st grade top-level talisman master, she has the potential to be a 2nd grade talisman master in the future. Her husband, Lu Changxing, is also a 2nd grade talisman master, having made significant contributions to the family. Therefore, wanting to fight for this foundation establishment elixir, it essentially already belongs to her. Elder, Miaofeng has a better talent than me, and moreover, the foundation establishment spirit objects prepared by the family this time are more suitable for Miaofeng. So, this foundation establishment elixir, give it to Miaofeng, Lu Miaoga said quietly after a long silence. She knew if she wished to contend for it, this foundation establishment elixir would most likely be hers. But now that the chance for foundation establishment she had always yearned for had appeared before her eyes, hesitation crept into her heart. Because this foundation establishment elixir is too weighty. It carries the future of the Lu family. Success is the only option, failure is not tolerated. Moreover, once foundation establishment is achieved, she would become the new matriarch of the Lu family of Jianghu Mountain and would be responsible for the rise and fall of the family. If she had not married or had children, she would have had the courage to shoulder this responsibility. Chapter 508. Nangong Mili and Meng Xiaochan under one in a secluded cave. Meng Xiaochan, dressed in a white gown, showed an exhausted appearance on her delicate and beautiful face. She looked towards her master with a face full of worry. At this moment, Nangong Mili's face was incomparably pale, void of any color, her beautiful eyes tightly closed, lying unconscious. Yet even in her comatose state, she exuded a seductive charm that captured the soul. One glance at her was enough to stir the imagination and arouse desire, tempting one to commit a sin. There was an impulse to conquer her, to press her beneath one's body. Meng Xiaochan extended her wrist, checked her master's condition, then took out an elixir medicine and fed it into Nangong Mili's lips. She then used mana to help her refine the power of the medicine. At this moment, Nangong Mili's long and thick eyelashes fluttered slightly, and a delicate, crisp moan came from her mouth. "Master, you're awake." Upon hearing this soft moan, Meng Xiaochan was jolted with excitement, her face immediately revealing a look of joy. "Xiaochan." Nangong Mili's narrow phoenix eyes, like unfolding peach blossoms, slowly opened, her hazy pupils brimming with a bewitching power that made one's soul tremble. "Master, how are you feeling?" Meng Xiaochan asked, full of concern. "Not too good." Nangong Mili weakly propped up her graceful body, gently shook her head and asked, "Xiaochan, how long have I been unconscious?" Her figure was enchantingly graceful and voluptuous. Her chest was high and firm, making her clothes bulge prominently. Her slender waist could be grasped in a handful, and as her round and firm buttocks pressed against the ground, they looked quite fleshy. Below the black gauze skirt, a pair of pale, bloodless, delicate and enticing jade-like feet were exposed. "Master, you've been unconscious for over 2 months." Meng Xiaochan spoke, her voice somewhat downcast. That day, although they had taken the chance to escape from Jiuxiao Immortal City, they were still faced with the pursuit of the Heavenly Sword sect. Under the pursuit of Yun Jianfeng, Nangong Mili could only use a secret technique to carry Meng Xiaochan out of danger. But the aftereffects of this secret technique were quite severe, causing her to fall into a deep unconsciousness, from which she had only now awoken. Over 2 months. Upon hearing this, Nangong Mili's eyebrows slightly knitted together, and her enchantingly beautiful face showed a hint of seriousness. She took out a token with a heavenly spider pattern from her storage ring. After a moment, her serious face turned somewhat unsightly. "Master, what's wrong?" Meng Xiaochan looked at her master with pursed lips. She knew too well that on regular days, her master always presented a carefree and unrestrained demeanor. It was only in the face of serious, important matters that such an expression would appear. "My dear daughter, we are in danger now," Nangong Mili chuckled lightly, displaying a feigned ease. "In danger." Upon hearing this, Meng Xiaoquan's heart sank, vaguely guessing what was going on. She spoke up, "Master, have the sect hierarch and the Heavenly Corpse sect master been defeated?" She and her master Nangong Mili had come to Jianghu country cultivation realm mainly to prepare for Jin Kingdom's invasion. On one hand, they were to contact and integrate the spies buried within Jianghu country. On the other hand, they were to wait for the Five Poisons cult leader and Heavenly Corpse sect master to repel Shenzhen true monarch Li Duanshuan. As soon as the Jin Kingdom's army invaded, they planned to disrupt the rear of Jianghu country cultivation realm in conjunction with the 3 great demon sects of Jin Kingdom. Yet now, 3 months had passed since they had been pursued and nearly killed by the Heavenly Sword sect. No one from the Five Poisons cult of Jin Kingdom had contacted them, no one had come to their rescue. Seeing the expression on her own master now led her to surmise that the Five Poisons cult leader and Heavenly Corpse sect master had likely been defeated by Shenzhen true monarch Li Duanshuan. That's correct. According to the information, the sect hierarch and Heavenly Corpse sect master seem to have lost the battle. In light of that, Jianghu country cultivation realm is probably under a full lockdown right now, and it's going to be difficult for us to leave Jianghu country and return to Jin Kingdom. Furthermore, the people from Heavenly Sword sect must still be hunting us down, Nangong Mili admitted without hiding anything, her voice soft and powerless. As she spoke, she tried to stand up, but because she was too weak, she stumbled halfway through. "Master." Seeing this, Meng Xiaochan quickly reached out and embraced her master's perfect delicate body. "Phew, after casting the sacrificial goo insect technique with my current condition, it's going to take 3 to 5 years to recover from these side effects," Nangong Mili said, shaking her head slightly. While speaking, she gazed at Meng Xiaochan, who wore a heavy expression, and wrapped her pale jade arms around her, hanging off her as if for support. Putting on a pitiful look that inspired sympathy, she said, "My good daughter, in the coming days, your mother can only rely on you to take care of her." "Master." Meng Xiaochan never expected her master to still make jokes and tease her at such a time. "Hee hee." Nangong Mili, tall and graceful, kissed Meng Xiaochan gently on her delicate and fair face. "Xiaochan, there's no use worrying now given the way things are. It reminds me of the days when I, with my own master, your great-grandmother, faced a similar ordeal. But back then I was even younger than you are now, having just broken through Foundation establishment." Nangong Mili's beautiful eyes filled with nostalgia as she spoke softly. She had taken Meng Xiaochan as her personal disciple and treated her so well partly because Meng Xiaochan was her master's descendant. Another part was seeing her own past self in Meng Xiaochan, remembering how she had been taught and cared for like a daughter by her own master. This made her develop a mischievous streak whenever she saw Meng Xiaochan, unable to resist teasing her. Very few people in Jiang country cultivated goo bugs. But one of the three major demonic sects in Jin Kingdom, the Five Poisons cult, was famous for using goo poison. Therefore, she immediately surmised that cultivators from the Five Poisons cult were hiding in these mountains. One of the three core formation fugitives is the heavenly spider envoy of the Five Poisons cult, Nangong Mili. This person's life-bound heavenly spider was slain by senior brother Tianjue, and earlier, under senior brother Tianju's pursuit, she used the life-burning secret technique to barely escape. So even if she is Nangong Mili, she is definitely no match for me. The woman thought to herself, her eyes as sharp as her sword. The next moment, the azure magical sword above her head violently slashed forward. A swath of sword light, immense like the rolling Milky Way, roared towards a mountain peak with tremendous force. Boom! Instantly, the entire mountain peak was leveled by this one strike. After flattening the peak and detecting no abnormalities, she continued to slash her sword towards another mountain. Boom, boom, boom. One mountain peak after another was being leveled, causing the whole range to rumble as numerous birds, fierce beasts, and demon beasts trembled with fear at the disturbance. Master. In a certain cave, Meng Xiaochan, hearing such commotion, looked towards her own master. As soon as the goo bugs were killed, she immediately realized that someone from the Heavenly Sword sect must have arrived and noticed something was amiss. Previously, disciples of Heavenly Sword sect patrolled the area and passed by here, but none had taken notice of her. Meng Xiaochan surmised that it must have been an incidental leak of Nangong Mili's aura upon awakening that had alerted someone. After all, during such a tense time, it was common for the Heavenly Sword sect to cleanse the demonic path and craft some magic artifacts and treasures that could sense demonic energy. This is a third-rank top-tier teleportation talisman, Xiaochan. If you activate this talisman, you can escape from here, Nangong Mili said as she took out a talisman from her storage ring and handed it to Meng Xiaochan. Despite being weak and powerless, she could still muster a bit of mana. Master, I don't have the strength to fully activate a talisman of this level, and what about you? Meng Xiaochan asked with concern, looking at Nangong Mili. Of course I will go with you. Do you really think I would abandon your master to escape alone? Boo-hoo, I never thought you would actually leave your master behind and flee on your own, boo-hoo. The moment Nangong Mili heard this, she immediately put on a pitiful expression, looking quite forlorn. Master, Meng Xiaochan said helplessly. At a time like this, her master was still acting like a drama queen. Silly girl, you just need to activate the teleportation talisman. Leave the rest to your master. Chapter 510, Nangong Mili and Meng Xiaochan. Otherwise, how could it be such a coincidence? As she spoke, her jade arms tightly wrapped around Meng Xiaoquan's neck, draping her own enchanting body entirely over Meng Xiaochan. Master, I can't breathe like this. Meng Xiaochan was half a head shorter than Nangong Mili. At this moment, Nangong Mili's posture allowed two soft peaks to envelop her face directly within them. Alright, stop dawdling, hurry up. Nangong Mili, finding her little disciple's appearance quite amusing, pushed out her full and rich chest and urged with a voice. Meng Xiaochan didn't dare to hesitate and immediately consumed mana to use the third-rank teleportation talisman. The next moment, atop the mountain range, a beautiful matron clad in gray and white clothing immediately felt a surge of mana fluctuation. Immediately, her magical sword slashed at the mountaintop in front. This slash was incredibly fierce and tyrannical, with the sword light resembling a vast blue river falling from the heavens, dimming the luminance of the entire world. Roar! The mountaintop directly collapsed under this slash, split into two halves. The beautiful matron immediately transformed into a rainbow of light and, looking at the cave inside the large mountain with a cold expression, knew she had just failed to capture the demon head the moment before he escaped from her eyesight. Just then, as if sensing something, she suddenly looked in another direction, her magical sword brewing with power, ready to slash again. Senior, I just happened to pass by here. In the distance, a girl around 16 or 17 years old in black clothing clambered out from a pile of rocks, quickly raising her hand and shouted loudly. Although her eyes showed a hint of fear, her face was taut, and her eyes revealed unyielding determination. Fourth level energy refinement. The beautiful matron glanced at the girl in black, her brows slightly furrowed. She didn't know why the girl had appeared in these mountains. Although this mountain range wasn't exactly teeming with demon beasts, there were still quite a few roaming about. With the girl's strength, even a minor encounter with a powerful demon beast could be dangerous. Nevertheless, seeing the girl's situation, she realized she was caught up in the aftermath of her recent offensive. She instantly raised her hand, causing the surrounding rocks to disperse. Little girl, these mountains are very dangerous for someone of your strength. They'll send you on your way. Lan Wuxia looked at the girl in black and said out loud. Thank you, Senior. I was looking to cross these mountains to reach the Heavenly Sword Sect. The girl in black bowed in greeting. Oh, the Heavenly Sword Sect? What are you going there for? Lan Wuxia was somewhat surprised to hear this. Chapter 511. Yu Family's Movement, Miss Xiaochan? _1 Jianghu Mountain Lu Family. Boom. That day, above Jianghu Valley, nature's spiritual energy began to surge, slowly forming a vortex of spiritual energy. What's happening? The surge of spiritual energy forming a vortex. Someone is attempting foundation establishment. Foundation establishment? Who in our family is attempting foundation establishment? It must be because the Lu family ancestor previously rendered great service to the Qingyun sect, exchanging for a foundation establishment elixir or foundation establishment spirit objects, allowing someone from our family to initiate foundation establishment. I wonder if it's Uncle Miao Feng or Auntie Miaoga who is attempting foundation establishment. I read in the books, once the spiritual energy vortex forms, it signifies that the 3 challenges of foundation establishment have been passed, arriving at the most critical stage of foundation establishment. The final moment? I wonder if they can succeed. They must succeed. If so, our Lu family will have 2 foundation establishment great cultivators. Upon seeing this spiritual energy vortex, many Lu family disciples spoke out, buzzing with discussion. Although the news about Lu Yuanzhong's serious injuries had not been spread throughout the family, there were still many who heard rumors, whispers about it. They knew that their family ancestor had been severely injured while fighting the Xiahou clan and didn't have much longer to live. Now, seeing someone in the family attempting foundation establishment, they were naturally overjoyed and extremely excited. After all, for the Lu family, regardless of whether Lu Yuanzhong was seriously injured, having one more foundation establishment ancestor was an incredibly good thing. Each additional foundation establishment cultivator meant that the Lu family's strength and foundation had risen to a new level. Yuanding Miaoga, you too must secure the family. Deep in Jianghu Valley, Lu Yuanzhong acted as the protector for Lu Miaofeng. Seeing that Lu Miaofeng had reached the final step and was about to congeal his mana and lift the platform of the Tao, he transmitted his voice to Lu Yuanding and Lu Miaoga. Qi refinement impacting foundation establishment, the convergence of nature's spiritual energy, would inevitably cause some commotion, especially at the final moment. Though the commotion was not significant, it could be clearly perceived within Jianghu Mountain. But it was not guaranteed that it wouldn't invite dangerous trouble. Not to mention, the cultivation families in the vicinity all planted spies and internal informants within each other to grasp and understand the situation and information about each other's family. No one wanted to see a new foundation establishment cultivator born in a neighboring family. Hence, foundation establishment attempts were usually kept secretive. Just like how the previous Lu family ancestor had secretly taken him away from Jianghu Mountain to attempt foundation establishment elsewhere. Only after the success of foundation establishment did he return to the family. Yes, ancestor. Lu Yuanding and Lu Miaoga responded with a nod. Due to the war against the Xiahou clan, the Lu family had suffered great losses. Thus, for Lu Miaofeng's foundation establishment this time, to avoid any accidents, Lu Miaoga had been stationed in Jianghu Mountain. By Lake Mountain Yu family. Ancestor, we have received word from our people that someone from the Lu family is currently attempting foundation establishment. They have passed the 3 challenges of foundation establishment and have reached the critical moment. As for who is attempting foundation establishment, it's not yet confirmed, but it's either Lu Miaoga or Lu Miaofeng. The patriarch of the Yu family came to the back mountain of the family estate and reported this piece of information to their patriarch. Humph. When Lu Yuanzhong was poisoned by corpse toxin in Blackwater Pool, I had guessed that his life wouldn't last long, and he would need to prepare for the aftermath, allowing the Lu family to birth a new foundation establishment cultivator, previously young master Bai, after exchanging for a foundation establishment elixir at the Qingyun sect, used up all the family's savings by relying on old favors to secure an opportunity to attempt foundation establishment within the Qingyun sect, and he successfully achieved foundation establishment. If we allow the Lu family to birth another new foundation establishment cultivator, won't all our Yu family's plans be in vain? Yu Jinyang, clad in a blue brocade robe with youthful looks despite his white hair, his eyes sharp as lightning, snorted coldly. Ancestor, do you mean to directly attack Qingzhou Mountain? The patriarch of the Yu family tentatively inquired. Recently, the Qingyun sect has forbidden conflicts among the major families. If we launch a full attack on Qingzhou Mountain, we might provoke the Qingyun sect to intervene. Moreover, right now the Lu family must be on high alert with their great formation fully operational, thus attacking Qingzhou Mountain wouldn't be easy. Furthermore, our Yu family has a cooperation arrangement with the Lu family, and it would seem rather unsightly for us to act this way. Yu Jinyang declared. Ancestor, are we just going to let the Lu family succeed in foundation establishment? The patriarch of the Yu family voiced out, somewhat unwilling to accept the situation. He was very clear that his ancestor had great ambitions, aiming to swallow up the surrounding major families. Currently, the Wugong Ridge Zheng family was without a successor and their patriarch's life was fading, already infiltrated by their Yu family. Chapter 512. Yu family's movement, Miss Xiao Chan? Therefore, the plan, which was originally to grind the Bai family ancestor to death, was changed to grinding Lu Yuanzhong to death. As long as Lu Yuanzhong died, the Lu family would be at a loss, without a new foundation establishment cultivator emerging, and the Yu family could take the opportunity to divide Qingzhou Mountain and take the Red Leaf Valley market into their pocket. At that time, faced with the power of the Yu family, the Bai family would find it hard to stand alone and would have no choice but to submit. If, this time, a new foundation establishment cultivator were born to the Lu family and the Bai and Lu families continued their alliance, it would be much more difficult and troublesome for their Yu family to swallow the Red Leaf Valley market with two families' strength against them. Doing nothing and letting the Lu family initiate foundation establishment is not the style of this old ancestor. Go and inform Ning Jun to accompany this old man to Qingzhou Mountain. Now that the Lu family is at a critical juncture of foundation establishment, they naturally wouldn't dare to meet the enemy head-on. We just need to hide our identities, harass Qingzhou Mountain, and cause the nature's spiritual energy there to become chaotic. Besides, the one in Qingzhou Mountain who is attempting foundation establishment, upon hearing this disturbance, will certainly be distracted and his state of mind affected, which might lead to a failure in foundation establishment. Yu Jinyang stood with his hands behind his back and spoke. The ancestor is wise. The patriarch of the Yu family understood the intent of their family's old ancestor upon hearing these words. When a cultivator attempts foundation establishment, not only is abundant spiritual energy required, but also a quiet environment. Because the spiritual liquid concentrate is transforming into mana, lifting the Tao platform, one cannot afford to be distracted. One moment of negligence can lead to failure in foundation establishment. If someone were to interfere during the process, or if a situation arises outside, one's mentality and state of mind would surely be affected, thus affecting the foundation establishment. Especially when attempting foundation establishment, hearing disturbances and knowing that one's own family is under attack would likely affect any clan cultivator's state of mind and mentality. Ancestor, if we act in this manner, what should we do if the Lu family goes to the Qingyun sect to complain afterward? The patriarch of the Yu family continued to inquire. The Qingyun sect had regulations in place. During the recruitment period, all major families and forces must cease any conflicts and disputes. Furthermore, within 3 years, all must develop peacefully without engaging in conflict or war. This left her mind a blank slate, as if muddled, her heart stricken with intense embarrassment. Lu Changxing was somewhat astonished as he looked towards the two who had crashed into the spiritual pool. He wondered how the two had appeared there. He was focusing all his efforts on sorting out the yang energy for Ling Zixiao, but his divine sense was indeed paying attention to the surroundings. He hadn't noticed at all how the two managed to approach so quietly. Moreover, around this spiritual pool, Ling Zixiao had laid down an inverted 5 elements formation. Typically, Foundation establishment cultivators could not easily break through it, let alone enter the formation silently and without a trace. Lu Lang. Just then Meng Xiaochan, dressed in a purple gown, emerged from the water surface, her face pale as she called out to Lu Changxing. Her shout was laden with a mix of emotions: surprise, joy, longing, tenderness, grievance, and more. Earlier, she and her master Nangong Meili had faced danger in the cave and had to forcibly activate a third-order teleportation talisman to make their escape. For her, this level of talisman was not only extremely draining to use and difficult to activate, but it was also uncontrollable. She could only rely on her master Nangong Meili's aid to activate it. The moment they used the talisman, they were attacked by a burst of sword chi. Although they managed to escape using the teleportation talisman, both she and Nangong Meili were injured in the process. But she had never imagined that the teleportation talisman would lead her to Lu Changxing. On this trip to Jianghu country, her heart had been in turmoil, wondering if she might encounter Lu Changxing. After all, she harbored an unstoppable longing for Lu Changxing, and to say he filled her thoughts by day and haunted her dreams by night was by no means an exaggeration. However, a shred of clarity and rationality in her heart made her dread seeing Lu Changxing. She was afraid that upon seeing Lu Changxing she would lose herself. Lu Lang? Ling Zixiao quickly recovered her wits and looked towards the two in the spiritual pool, ready to suppress them through the formation. But upon hearing Meng Xiaoquan's sudden call of Lu Lang, she was stunned again with a dumbfounded expression. What the hell did this girl know Lu Changxing? Furthermore, this call of Lu Lang gave her the impression of a long-awaited reunion, filled with tender affection. It made her immediately realize that the relationship between the two was out of the ordinary, extremely close. Could it be that the two were called here by Lu Changxing wanting to? In an instant, a notion surfaced in Ling Zixiao's mind. But she quickly dismissed the thought the next moment. Not out of trust in Lu Changxing's character. When it came to matters of men and women, she had no particular trust in Lu Changxing. She had long determined that Lu Changxing was no ordinary cultivator. Although such a scenario was outrageous, it was not entirely impossible. The reason she dismissed the idea was that she could clearly sense that their appearance hadn't triggered her formation. It seemed as if they had arrived through the use of space-traveling spell or teleportation formation. Yet, space-traveling spells are exceedingly profound. Apart from the rare mutant spiritual root known as Sky Spirit Root, only nascent soul true lords could master such divine skills. As for teleportation formations, that's even less likely. One would need to be a third-order top-rank formation master to set up such a formation. And the process of setting one up is very complex. It's impossible to teleport without a proper setup. Miss Xiaochan? Lu Changxing, hearing Meng Xiaoquan's voice and seeing the girl before him, was surprised. He hadn't expected that the girl who had suddenly appeared would be Meng Xiaochan. From the information he had purchased in Jianghu Immortal City, he already knew that Meng Xiaochan belonged to the Five Poisons cult of Jin Kingdom's demonic path. She should be on the run from the Heavenly Sword sect with the Heaven Spider emissary Nangong Meili, so how did she suddenly show up here? Indeed, they know each other. Ling Zixiao, upon hearing Lu Changxing's address to Meng Xiaochan, paused internally and thought to herself that they indeed knew each other, and their relationship was not ordinary. The next moment, upon seeing Meng Xiaoquan's appearance and features, her eyes instantly showed a look of surprise and doubt. She had seen information about the demonic path incident in Jianghu Immortal City that Lu Changxing had purchased. The jade slip contained details about Meng Xiaochan, her background and introduction. Now seeing Meng Xiaochan, she instantly recognized that this was the demonic path cultivator who was being pursued by the Heavenly Sword sect as mentioned in the incident at Jianghu Immortal City. This caused her to wonder with surprise how Lu Changxing had dealings with a demon cultivator. Could it really be that he was some kind of heretical or demonic cultivator? Chapter 513. Such a coincidence? A wave of romance? A cauldron-like body? Underscore 1, Lu Lang, it's me. Meng Xiaochan, seeing Lu Changxing recognize her, immediately said with a face full of joy. She then wanted to embrace Lu Changxing like a swallow returning to its nest. But the next moment her delicate body suddenly stiffened. She stood in place silent. Her teeth bit into her pale lips, her hands clasped over her clothes, a look of profound sadness and dejection on her face, her mood low. Although she harbored a heart full of longing and affection for Lu Changxing, upon seeing Lu Changxing, an uncontrollable joy and excitement surged from the depths of her heart. But she was clear in her heart. Her affection for Lu Changxing stemmed from the Lockhart Gu. Between her and Lu Changxing, there was nothing that could be called affection. Even more so, considering the past grudges and disputes between them, Lu Changxing might harbor disgust for her. Now she had stumbled upon Lu Changxing in such a situation. Furthermore, as a person of the demon path, she was currently being pursued and wanted by the Heavenly Sword sect of Jianghu country. It made her emotions complicated, unsure of how to face Lu Changxing. Did this woman do something to wrong Lu Changxing in the past? Ling Zixiao, standing to the side, saw Meng Xiaoquan's face filled with excitement and joy moments ago, wanting to throw herself into an embrace, but now she immediately showed a hesitant and awkward appearance, and couldn't help but speculate in her heart. Lu Changxing, seeing Meng Xiaoquan's pitiful look, as if she had done something wrong, could roughly guess what the other party was thinking. After all, the two of them couldn't be said to be familiar with each other, they had only met a few times. And their meetings had not been friendly. But to say they weren't familiar? The two of them had, because of the Peach Blossom Gu, formed deep bonds. After the incident in Red Leaf Valley, Lu Changxing was almost certain. Under the backlash of the Peach Blossom Gu, Meng Xiaoquan's affection for him ran deep. Otherwise she wouldn't have acted so irrationally when he was in danger, and after the event she would not have given him Foundation Establishment elixirs, Foundation Establishment spirit objects and spirit stones, all for the sake of his forgiveness. Miss Xiaochan, how come you are here? Lu Changxing asked. In the Battle of Red Leaf Valley, he had let go of the past grievances. After all, he hadn't lost out in his dealings with Meng Xiaochan. He managed to reach Foundation Establishment easily, and it was all thanks to the Foundation Establishment elixir gifted by Meng Xiaochan. Without Meng Xiaoquan's two Foundation Establishment elixirs, not only would his own Foundation Establishment have been difficult, Xiaoxia's attempt might also have been dangerous. Besides, maybe it's because men are more forgiving of those who like them. After all, she likes him so much. If she were to become the mother of his child in the future, would these issues even matter? Let it be considered as a meeting of love and conflict. However, Lu Changxing was indeed curious why Meng Xiaochan had suddenly appeared here. I came to Jianghu country with my master to do a task and then was pursued by the Heavenly Sword sect. Meng Xiaochan, hearing Lu Changxing's question, pursed her lips and without hiding anything told the story bit by bit. She indicated how she and her master had been hiding along the way from the Heavenly Sword sect's pursuit, but were discovered previously and managed to escape with the help of a teleportation talisman. A teleportation talisman? You just happened to teleport here, such a coincidence? Lu Changxing, hearing this, paused. He immediately thought of his Peach Blossom Gu. The Peach Blossom Gu would enhance his love luck in mysterious ways. And in his eyes, this incident fit the bill for love luck. Otherwise, how could such a coincidence occur? He asked, Miss Xiaochan, do you have any plans for what comes next? Although he held no ill feelings toward Meng Xiaochan, he even thought of taking her home to be the mother of his child at one point. But now, since she was involved with the demon path and the Heavenly Sword sect, he didn't harbor such thoughts anymore. It wasn't because of some irreconcilable difference between righteous and demonic paths or a prejudice against the demon path, but given the current tense situation between Jianghu country and Jin kingdom, Meng Xiaoquan's involvement in the Jiuxiao Immortal City incident would implicate him with the demon path if he had any connections with her. If the Heavenly Sword sect found out, not only he but the entire Lu family could be in danger. Lu Lang, don't worry. I won't cause you any trouble. He'll take my master and leave. Meng Xiaochan, biting her pale lips, said so. As soon as she finished talking, her heart skipped a beat, and she immediately remembered her master, Nangong Meili, and how after they fell into the spiritual pond, her master had sunk into the water. Seeing Lu Changxing, she had been thrown into disarray. For the moment she had forgotten all about Nangong Meili. Master! She exclaimed in shock, and immediately dove into the spiritual pond to fish out her master. Master, Five Poisons Cult, Heaven Spider Emissary Nangong Meili? Lu Changxing's eyes slightly narrowed, looking towards the figure that sank into the spiritual pond. In his mind appeared the image of the bewitching woman in black he had seen at the Jiuxiao Immortal City. Meng Xiaochan immediately took out a healing pill from her storage bag, fed it to Nangong Meili, and helped her refine the medicinal essence. Miss, I see that your master is in a bad state right now. Moreover, you and your master are being hunted by the Heavenly Sword Sect. If you leave like this, once you encounter a disciple of the Heavenly Sword Sect, I'm afraid it will be dangerous. At that moment, Ling Zixiao, who was beside Lu Changxing, looked at Meng Xiaochan and spoke out. Through Lu Changxing's gaze and breathing, she could sense that her lover had a possessive desire for the present Nangong Meili. To this she could somewhat understand. On one hand, Nangong Meili was indeed captivating. Even as a woman herself, she felt somewhat attracted. An additional reason was that she had reviewed the information on the demon path happenings in the Jiuxiao Immortal City. She recognized Nangong Meili. She knew that this unconscious woman was one of the nascent soul immortals being chased by the Heavenly Sword Sect. The Heaven Spider emissary from the Five Poisons cult, Nangong Meili. She was aware that Lu Changxing was proficient in many dual cultivation and absorption techniques. A weakened, unconscious nascent soul immortal before him was like a grand medicinal herb to someone like Lu Changxing, who was adept in absorption techniques. If he could absorb her essence, the benefits might be immense. My disciple and I appearing here will surely bring trouble for Taoist Lu and Lu Taoist. Therefore, in order not to cause you two any trouble, Meng Xiaoquan's delicate face was somewhat pale. She bit her lip lightly, her voice quivering as she spoke. How could she not know that she and her master were in extreme danger? But at this moment, her heart was very complicated. On one hand, her affection for Lu Changxing made her want to approach him, to show her soft side in front of him, seeking help. Yet that same affection made her worry about causing Lu Changxing trouble. Apart from affection, the few remaining shreds of rationality in her heart also made her worried. Fear gripped her that Lu Changxing might turn against her and her master. After all, she had witnessed Lu Changxing's methods before. She knew Lu Changxing was truly extraordinary. A decade had passed, and Lu Changxing had successfully established his foundation, his strength and methods only becoming more formidable. If her master, Nangong Meili, had been well, things would have been fine. But now her master was seriously injured and comatose, and she herself was in a weakened state. If Lu Changxing decided to make a move against them, she feared she would be utterly powerless to resist. Miss Xiaochan, as Zixiao said, it's very dangerous for you to take your master away with you now. There's a formation here that conceals your presence, which should offer some security. Let me take a look at you and your master's condition. Lu Changxing looked at Meng Xiaochan before him, sighed softly, his heart softening a bit. In the end, he couldn't bring himself to take advantage of their vulnerability, to harvest and kill them. Nor could he watch Meng Xiaochan, who had deeply cared for him, leave with Nangong Meili in such a state, falling into peril. Since fate had strangely brought them together here, creating ties between them, adding a few more didn't matter anymore. Lu Lang. Meng Xiaochan heard these words, her beautiful eyes locked onto Lu Changxing, her eyes reddening, slightly moist. She was not a fragile person. Since her grandmother's death, she had been traveling alone through the cultivation world, her temperament surpassing countless others. But these past few months had been too exhausting for her. Her master comatose, facing the pursuit and assassination by the Heavenly Sword Sect, each day was filled with terror, like walking on thin ice. Today her master had finally awakened, but due to Lan Ruoxia's sword strike, their situation had deteriorated further. Not only was she weakened, but her master Nangong Meili was also facing a life-threatening crisis. Therefore, faced with Lu Changxing's concerned words, her tough inner self and taut nerves completely collapsed. It's okay. Lu Changxing saw Meng Xiaoquan's eyes brimming with tears, her delicate and pure face full of grievances, and he felt pity sighing softly in his heart, moving forward to comfort her. Lu has always been tender-hearted, unable to bear seeing tears. Meng Xiaoquan's pitiful demeanor indeed invoked sympathy and made him want to hold her in his arms and protect her. Lu Lang Wuwu, hearing Lu Changxing's soothing words, like a gentle breeze, Meng Xiaochan could no longer control her emotions. Suppressing them no longer, she rushed into Lu Changxing's arms, hugging him tightly. Her pale, delicate cheek rested against his chest as she sobbed softly. The sobbing grew louder, eventually turning into a loud wail. It seemed as if she wanted to release all the sadness, pain, anxiety, discomfort and all other emotions from deep within her heart. It's all right, I'm here. Lu Changxing hugged Meng Xiaochan, his hand gently caressing her back, his voice soothing her. Although he knew Meng Xiaochan must not be young in age. But her appearance and her posture still conveyed a sense of a delicate and young girl. Ling Zixiao, who was watching from aside, said nothing. He pondered to himself, considering how Meng Xiaoqian previously interacted with Lu Changxing in a hesitant manner, wondering what it was all about. From the current situation, she did not seem to have done anything to wrong Lu Changxing. Nor did Lu Changxing seem to hold any grudge against her. What is going on between these two? Ling Zixiao, observing the scene, truly found it incomprehensible. After a long while, the young girl had expressed her tumultuous emotions.